Can't do it too. I can't get into it right now, Baddog, with the way the team's playing right now. I can't do a little New York Giant fans. But we're back at it, Baddog, 0-3, and praying we get our first win this week against the New Orleans Saints.
0-3, and not looking good. Not looking good at all. Losing to two teams that we definitely could have beaten and probably should have beat, but we didn't, which always sucks. I don't really know. I don't really know where to start with tonight's action. Let's start with Zig. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Really. Sup, fellas? Barring a great win streak, this team's in for another tear down and rebuild. If so, what players you think the new regime will keep?
All right. I'll start.
Jones.
First, I will say hello to a couple people in here before we forget. Sunday, Elvis, Charles, thank you for being here. Arctic, Afghanistan. Giants Girl in Florida, Mike Moran, John Williams, Luann, Nick Santello, Afghanistan. Lloyd, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I saw Giant here as well. Mike in here, Chino. Thank you to everybody for being here. Yes. Thank you guys for continuing to support us as we talk about this atrocious football team.
Yes.
But, Baddog, as far as that question goes, it's tough for me to answer that right now because I don't, I got to see the whole season. I got to see how these players play throughout the whole season. But right now, obviously, Andrew Thomas is in the long-term plans of this team, especially with the way he's playing. So that's a given. I think Azeez Ojulari is definitely proving to at least be, hopefully, at least at a bare minimum, your second best edge rusher when you get things ready to go with this team. And obviously, the guys that already signed the big contracts, Leonard Williams, whether you like it or not, if you're a Giants fan, he's going to be here. Nobody's trading for that contract, and hopefully improves. It gets better. You have to figure Bradbury, unless we trade him at the deadline, will be back with this team along with Martinez, who you can't trade right now off the ACL tear. So anybody that's making big money right now,
Galladay's the other one.
Galladay, Adoree Jackson. So those guys will be back. In terms of the young players, I mean, McKinney, obviously, will still be a part of this team. Logan Ryan will still be a part of this team. So I don't know if they'll do a complete rebuild when you look at all the money that we spent this offseason. I don't know if they'll completely blow it up after this year. They may try to patch things together. I have to see how the rest of the season plays out. Of course, the big name is Daniel Jones. And I don't know. I got to see the next 14 games, and I have to see what they decide to do with the general manager position before I can answer whether or not I think he'll be back with this football team. But, we'll see. But obviously, a complete rebuild's on the table right now, the way this team's playing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think Daniel Jones will be here for another year for the simple fact that I don't think there's anybody good coming out of this quarterback draft class. Unless somebody really takes the country by storm. I can't see anybody really jumping up there. If the Giants are bad and the Bears are bad and the Giants have a couple picks in the top 10 or the top 5, I can't see them using one on a quarterback, and maybe they could trade back and get some more draft picks. I mean, obviously that would be the ideal situation because, again, Spencer Rattler's not bad, but Spencer Rattler, much like Daniel Jones, is going to need a good team around him, and the Giants aren't that team. Sam Howell, don't really, care for him too much. I can never remember the damn Ole Miss quarterback. He's pretty good.
You got Malik Willis too out of Liberty. A lot of people.
Malik Willis, right? But I mean, do you really want a Liberty quarterback? I mean, you get mad at a. I mean, who's Liberty play? Who they played? Woo! Who has Liberty even played? Liberty don't play Alabama, or they're not playing Georgia. Like they're not playing anybody good. So, I mean, not that matters. I mean, Carson Wentz went to North Dakota State, so. Matt Corral. Thank you, James. Yes, that's who it is. Matt Corral. I can never remember his name, but supposedly he's been like the best. He's the guy kind of taking it a step up. But I don't think there's anybody worth taking in this draft class. I can't see anybody being better than Daniel Jones. Not with the Giants. I mean, maybe with somebody else in a better situation. But I talked with Tim on Tuesday that. Daniel Jones on a better team would be a better quarterback. And as good as the quarterback is, the pieces around him have a lot to do with how the quarterback succeeds and fails. I think Daniel Jones has been okay the first 3 games of the season. So I just can't see them replacing him, especially it would be his 4th year. Next year could be his last year, and maybe they replace him in 2023. And again, it sucks that we're already talking about this crap, and we're October 1st, and we're talking about it.
And we talk about, Baddog, how bad of a situation it is for Daniel Jones. If you use those draft picks to take a quarterback, whether it be trade up to get one or use your first pick on that quarterback, well, you're putting that rookie quarterback in the same situation that Daniel Jones is in.
This makes sense.
So it's not ideal, unless you feel one of these guys is a can't-miss prospect, which by all accounts, by what most people are saying right now, does not exist in this year's draft.
No.
Maybe the New York Giants will feel differently, but I would not advise the New York Giants to force a quarterback pick.
No, I can't see them doing that. They have other needs, in my opinion, bigger needs, and it goes on the front lines of both sides of the ball, defense and offense.
Yeah.
I'm in love with Tyler Lindenbaum, by the way. I've been mentioning that name a lot. He's a center in Iowa. Chris, you love Hogs? Watch Iowa. Even if you don't watch if you don't watch another college football game the rest of the year, just watch Iowa play. Just watch Tyler Lindenbaum. Okay.
Yeah, no. I've heard a lot about him. I haven't gotten to see him play yet, but I actually saw him being mocked to the Giants at 5th overall, which is crazy.
Yeah,
for a center.
watch him play. You see why they mock him there. He is really good.
But he's definitely a guy that I'm gonna be looking a lot more at as the draft approaches this year for sure, because I'm gonna have my eyes on the Hog Mollies, and he's been one that a lot of people have been talking about.
He's really good. NFL experts saying, brother, really appreciate you, man. Can't say this team right now. Shake my hand. We could actually go 0-10 with our schedule. I mean, at least Jones looks good. Jameis needs to play like ass. We definitely could go 0-10. The schedule is very, very difficult. Chef Oz, thank you, my man. Really appreciate you, brother. I think the Jets and Giants should combine teams and coaches, and maybe we'll be able to get 4 wins with the rosters. Yeah. New York football is god awful. Yeah, New York football is god awful. It's terrible. And the next is perfect. Thank you, Paul. Really. There you go. Sick. Just sickening.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to Chef's point, the Giants and the Jets have each won 18 games each since 2017. It's insane. It's the least amount in the entire league. And to speak about one of the prior super chats about Winston, I agree. I think that's probably our only chance to win this game, unless we're going to think outside of the box, which Judge hasn't really shown so far this year. But I think back to the last time we played the Saints, Baddog, and I don't know, how well you remember the game. I think it was in 2018. And the Giants had like a 7-0 lead early on. They were playing pretty good. And then the Saints called for a fake punt in their own territory. I think Taysom Hill picked it up, and then things went south after that. The Giants are going to have to do things like that, I think, to win this football game. You're going up against Sean Payton. He's a guy that's he's going to throw a lot of surprises your way. If there was ever a game where Joe Judge is going to have to be creative, it's this one. The good news is for the Giants, the Saints offense has been god-awful. I think Winston has an eclipse like 150 yards in any one of his 3 games so far. I know he had the 5-touchdown game week 1. Maybe he had a few more yards in that game, but their offense hasn't been lighting it up. Let's put it that way. The bad news is their defense has been insane. They're only giving up 2.8 yards per carry with the run defense. I think they have the 3rd overall ranked defense in football, and they've gone up against the Packers, the Patriots, and the Panthers. So it's not like they've been going up against scrubs. So their defense is legit, and I think their offense is better than what they've shown so far. And obviously you got to worry about Kamara.
What I would do, I think you got to be aggressive on both sides of the ball, especially defense. I mean, Jameis Winston can turn the ball over. I mean, that guy is turnover prone. I think that they got to send blitzes at him. They got to put pressure on him, try to force a turnover and get deep in Saints territory, get a turnover deep in their territory, which will help our score. Because, their defense has been pretty damn good. I mean, they've got, 7 or 8 interceptions already. You certainly don't want to have to throw into the teeth of that defense. And maybe a big turnover by the defense will get our offense going. I mean, who knows? Barkley hasn't been able to run the ball at all this season, and we're going against one of the best rushing defenses in the league. So the Giants have to be aggressive, perhaps in the passing game and not so much in the running game. And the Saints sell out to stop the run. Maybe that's where you use Daniel Jones's legs or a couple of play-action bootlegs or whatever. Something to that effect. I'm just watching the Yankees here, and they don't turn the double play. Sorry, pouring game for the Yankees. So my eyes are kind of diverted over there. Brandon, thank you, brother. Really, Jim Harbaugh for GM. Might be having Jim Harbaugh for head coach.
Yeah, he's a guy I brought up in the past. And I mean, obviously, I don't want them to move on from Judge, but right now it looks like it's at least a possibility the way the start that they've gotten off to. And he's a guy I brought up in the past. He's known to be a guy that's gotten a lot out of quarterbacks, right? Alex Smith, when he got there with San Francisco, kind of turned his career around. Hasn't really panned out in college, but yeah, he's, I guess, a name to keep an eye on. I don't think they'd hire him as a general manager. If they were going to hire Harbaugh, it would be to be a head coach.
Right. Larry J, thank you, my man. Appreciate you, brother. Really. Sup, fellas? Got to respect the hell out of all the guys and gals that still support this team. It's going to be okay. We're all going to make it. Dave Gettleman, not so much. Well, we wouldn't be here without guys and girls, without like Larry J and all you guys and girls that are here. We got over 300 people in here already, so thank you so much for being here. You know what to do. You hit the like, you hit the subscribe, and more importantly, you go into the description. You subscribe to this gentleman right over here. And because, we'll be doing this again next week on his channel. Hopefully we'll be 1-3. The game will be on my channel this week. Hopefully we'll be 1-3. Yeah. And hopefully I don't have to do another post game where I lose my freaking mind. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Dave Gettleman part goes, you know, we say it all the time. I think we were as fair as we possibly could be with Dave Gettleman. You know, I think we didn't agree with everything that the guy did, but we also recognized that we had to give him a fair opportunity for a rebuild. It takes some time, and the time's up. And if this team keeps going down the path they're going, Dave Gettleman's gone. They got to win 8 or 9 games at a minimum for Dave Gettleman to even be in the discussion of keeping his job. And right now, that looks like tough sledding when you look at our upcoming games.
Yeah, exactly. That's just why I made the video I did. It was about time for me to tear him up. You know, I defended him for a while saying, hey, he came into a bad situation, blah, blah, blah. But you look at 4 years later, we're in the same damn situation, maybe worse. He hasn't helped.
I mean, he spoke about the offensive line at big, long, whatever. He spoke about the offensive line a ton in his opening press conference, and the only offensive lineman right now that you know for sure is going to be a part of this football team going forward is Andrew Thomas. Yeah. And outside of that, you know, he's probably the only guy I know for sure that's been a first-round draft pick of this team that has worked out. You know, Daniel Jones is still a question mark. Saquon Barkley, a big question mark right now. And Kadarius Toney can't even get on the football field. So he will this week, so we'll get to see him.
Yeah. Jay-Lay, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really. We won't be elite again until we draft Arch Manning.
You never know. 2025. I think he's eligible in 2025.
Yeah. Well, listen, I was 9 or I was 10 when the Giants won it all. Well, 2025 would be, my son would be 8. Now, the Giants were terrible when I was young. They made the playoffs when I was 8 in 1984. So my son would be 8 in 2025, and then 2027, they should win a Super Bowl because I was 10. So cyclical. Lord Dog Sports. I'm not going to the gym though. We won a damn game. It looks like you haven't. Well, I mean, we haven't won a game in a long time. So obviously, for 4 years, you let yourself go. But looking good, Lord. Olivia, thank you, my lady. Brilly. We could have had Andrew Thomas and Rashawn Slater.
Don't remind me, Olivia. I've been I was preaching Rashawn Slater the second we signed Kenny Golladay. I wanted no part of a wide receiver. I thought they would take Devontae Smith, but
I thought we would go line after that.
That's the guy I wanted all along. And now, you know, you look at ESPN, they come out with their rookie rankings through 3 weeks, and he's the top rated rookie in all of football. And we have major problems on our offensive line. So sucks. Yep.
Johnny Letourneau, thank you, brother. Brilly, Stella, and
stand up.
He says, my best friends, Giants and Eagles stink right now. Chris, the Phillies will finish better than the Mets. You all the best. Yeah,
yes, they will, John. I think the Braves clinched a couple of days ago, but you guys got second. The Mets got third. Mets are disgraced.
Yesterday, the Braves clinched.
They got to fire everybody, the Mets, but that's a stream for another day. But they got to get rid of the manager. They got to get rid of the general manager because they got the talent. I mean, I went to the game the other day. They got Jeff McNeil batting 7th in the National League. They got the lineup. They've had injuries to the team, but they got to start over. They got to get a new manager, new general manager.
We could use a new manager here in the Bronx. We can use a new manager ourselves. Bill L, thank you, brother. Brilly. This many years a DJ at this point, I'd rather see him pull a Winston, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions instead of the crappy offense. Yeah, I mean, we got to take some chances. I wouldn't like to see the 30 interceptions, but I would like to see some chances being taken out there.
I'm in complete agreement. Like you said, I don't want to see 30 interceptions, but I almost welcome interceptions. I want to see a few interceptions. The problem with this team, Baddog, and why it's very hard for Daniel Jones to win football games is the team is operated in such a way that if Daniel Jones makes one mistake because of the type of offense that they run and the conservative approach that they take, they lose the football game. And Daniel Jones knows that, and he has to play mistake-free football. You look around the league, Brady's throwing picks all the time. Mahomes is throwing picks.
Kyler Murray.
But they make big plays.
Yeah.
And the way that this New York Giants offense is ran, if you make one mistake, you're not winning the football game. And that's not the type of – we cannot win football games that way. Our team is not good enough to play mistake-free football on a week-in, week-out basis. We have got to try to take more shots. And I know that we're somewhat limited because the offensive line is not very good, but you got to find a way to take some more shots.
Yep. Fucking game over. The Yankees are they don't matter. The Yankees can make the playoffs. They probably won't. They're going to get swept. So we're going to need help. But I can tell you this right now. If the Yankees make the playoffs and do win the wild card, they'll get swept by Tampa anyway. They can't beat them. So I don't need to watch that anymore. That game's over. Dustin, thank you, brother. Brilly. Appreciate you. Says Baddog Lindenbaum pinned dwarfs in high school wrestling. So you know he's rugged. I love Lindenbaum. I think Lindenbaum is going to be, I mean, and especially with Nick Gates having the injury, man, we could use a center. And I wanted Creed Humphrey last year. I mean, we need a center.
They even moved Gates from the center before the injury. So they clearly showed that they're not, married to him playing the center spot. So exactly. I would love a legit center. Billy Price sucks.
Yeah.
So
putting it nicely.
Yeah, to put it nicely. So I don't know if I'd want him fifth. I think that's a little bit early to take a center, but if we have to, first round picks, say, 3 and 10 or something, if you get him at 10, that's definitely a guy that I'd be interested in. I try to show up that offensive line for sure.
Yeah. Mike, thank you, brother. Brilly. Jets and Giants fans should unite and go on strike. I think we need to blow up MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, that's what I think. Bobby's been saying that on Twitter, and I agree with that.
Yeah. Kalen, thank you, brother. Brilly, we'll turn it around. DJ promised. Yes, Kalen met DJ.
Yeah, he showed me that too. Yeah.
DJ. Matthew Goodman, thanks so much for becoming a member, brother. Appreciate you, Brilly. Dog Matthew Goodman, welcome to the Dog Pound, sir. Yo, Dog Pound members, you know what to do. Welcome Matthew Goodman into the kennel, baby. That's how we do it over here. Let's go. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that. My good man. Where was I here? Johnny Letourneau, thank you, brother. Brilly. If Nick Sirianni doesn't show he can actually coach, he'll be fired before he gets started, and hopefully he takes Howie with him. We stink. Well, he's not going anywhere.
You're not firing him after 1 year.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised because going into the year, if you're being honest, as an Eagles fan, you couldn't have had super high expectations.
No. Unless you listen to their content creators, then they get you all hyped up.
Yeah. But no, there's no way. I'd be shocked if they fire Sirianni after 1 year. They may fire Roseman though, which I guess opens up the door to potentially moving on from a head coach. But that's a disaster if you fire a head coach after just 1 year.
Yeah, well, that is a disaster, but then they'll go after another quarterback, which they need anyway. Christopher, thank you, brother. Really, we got to admit, Jones is not a good quarterback and move on. You cannot keep after the season. He's just not the guy. He does not take games over. He's the best game manager at this point. Well, while I agree he hasn't shown the propensity to win a ton of games, the game plan's part of it, but there's just nobody to replace him. There's no quarterback in this draft class that's going to come in here and do better than Daniel Jones, especially since he would be put in the same situation as Daniel Jones, which is a terrible situation.
Yeah.
So I would rather build in the trenches and then go after a quarterback if Daniel Jones continues.
Or maybe you go with a stopgap. Like people point to that if you feel like Jones
Garoppolo or whatever.
Yeah. If you're bringing a GM, but somebody said this to me in my one of my.
I still don't think that would make sense.
Yeah, I think
Daniel Jones could be your stopgap.
Yeah, exactly. But and he'd only be a 1 year commitment. If you bring in another guy, you probably have to sign him like a 3 year deal if you bring in a real stopgap. But somebody in one of my streams like a couple of weeks ago was like, oh well, I think so and so Rattler, for example, I think it was, is better than Daniel Jones, and I'm like, even if he's better than Daniel Jones, he has got to. You have to feel like this guy can be a top 5 quarterback to be willing to take him that high in a draft. Right. And if you're the New York Giants, with the team that we have, if you don't feel that way, you don't take them. You don't force a quarterback pick just to be potentially slightly better at the position. Being slightly better at the position is not going to help us win football games with all the holes we have on our roster. We saw it. Eli Manning won a Super Bowl in 2011. He completely fell off the map in 2012, 2013 because we couldn't block and the team was horrible. And we said that for years, that it was the surrounding parts. Well, it's the same thing with Jones. I'm not saying that Daniel Jones is Pat Mahomes, but if you put a quarterback that's pretty good in this same situation, he's not going to be successful. Unless he's Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, you got to fix the rest of the holes on this football team.
Yep, I completely agree because it's not going to matter if you have a crappy team around them. And their guys are not going to succeed, and they're not going to be head and shoulder. There's nobody in this draft class head and shoulder. You're watching Spencer Rattler, at least I am. Heisman Trophy candidate right at the beginning of the year. And Oklahoma's got the running backs. They got Gray and they got Kennedy Brooks. And they can't run. And their offensive line, Oklahoma's offensive line is not nearly as good as it used to be. It's not. They've had a dominant offensive line for years. Their offensive line's so good. Spencer Rattler struggling. They're chanting for Caleb Williams already. Because Oklahoma's offense can't play. Since when is Oklahoma winning games 16-13? I've never seen it since I've been rooting for them. They usually win games 46-43, but they're relying on their defense.
Yeah.
They don't play anybody tough, and they still can't score because they got no O-line. Matthew, thank you, brother. Brilly. Giants could have had Slater and, well, we couldn't have had them both.
Or Parsons.
We could have had either or, right. We couldn't have had them both.
Not both.
Duke, thank you. Boomer Sooner, Duke. Brilly. What do you think about a sign that happened next week? I'm not betting on the Giants, man. Listen, Philly 500 is delusional. Okay, he thinks the Eagles are going to beat everybody. Duke, I know better. Okay, I actually watch football. I watch the games. I see what Dallas is. They're by far the best team in this division. They will whoop our ass. I'm not betting. Sorry, man. I have no confidence in this team to beat Dallas. I just don't. The Eagle fans are different. They're a different breed. They don't live in reality over there. A lot of them don't. They just think they're going to beat everybody. They think everybody's great. Everything's hunky-dory. It isn't. Here, we're a little bit more realistic with this fan base. We know our team stinks. If we were 2-1 and we were playing well and we beat the two teams we probably should have beat, maybe it's a different story. But you guys should be able to roll over us.
I'm going to tell you right now.
And our offense stinks.
I hate saying this as a Giants fan. I'd be shocked if Dallas doesn't win at least 11 or 12 games this year because I think they're going to sweep the division. I don't see a team in this division that's close to them right now. If I'm being honest, because their defense looks much better than I thought it would. And I think a lot of that has to do with the new defensive coordinator that they brought in over there. I just think they're far and away the best team in this division. I hate saying that as a Giants fan, and on game week, of course,
but it's true.
Yeah, it is true. They're a much better team than anybody in this division
by far. It's not close. It's not close.
So I'd be surprised if they don't win at least 11 or 12 games just because of the NFC East.
Yeah, Dallas got to be favored by like 9.5 against the Giants. It's going to be a big spread.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you, brother. Really. Chris could definitely use a Mets stream, Chris.
Not right. Well, maybe next year. There's 2 games left in the season, and the Mets they're like 10 games out of first place. So next year maybe I'll do some of those, but the Mets kind of just fell apart this year, and the baseball streams take like 4.5 hours, so it's why I don't do them that often. But next year I'll definitely do a few. But right now, no, we're taking the rest of the year off with the Mets.
Yeah. Arjun H, rather. Thanks so much, brother. Billy. Love this channel. Watch you guys every week. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate that. Want to know your favorite Giant to watch of all time? Me or Lawrence Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, me, it's Eli Manning. I say it all the time. He's my favorite player. He's my favorite New York Giant ever, so it's Eli Manning.
Charles Van Leuven said the Yankees gave up 2. Yeah, once it was 4-1, I turned the game off. I knew that was over. There was no reason to watch that. The Yankees weren't going to score. If it was 2-1, I would have left it on there because maybe Judge or Stanton can run into one and tie it up. But once they got down by 3, there's no point. I've watched a team enough all year to know they're not going to beat Tampa. They're going to need the Nationals to beat Boston. They're going to need the Orioles to beat the Blue Jays. They're going to need the Angels to beat Seattle. The Yankees will get swept by Tampa Bay this weekend. The Yankees will not beat Tampa Bay. And if somehow they do get into the playoffs, like I said, they will get swept by Tampa Bay in the LDS. They're not beating Tampa, so it really doesn't matter. I would love to call a playoff game, but the Yankees are going nowhere. They're not good enough. They're too much all or nothing. And Up Tainah talking McDonald's, really, but I'm not even going to the gym. If we win, Team Big Mac.
What's up there, Mr. McDonald's?
He's almost as good as Fat American who comes into the streams now and again. Tutto! Grazie, paisano. Thank you so much. Really, from a pro player's perspective, it's a bright as sunny day. Players are not respecting the coaches, neither in the locker room nor in the field. That's very possible.
Yeah, I think that's something that is going to be more and more of a storyline if this team keeps losing football games. People are going to be talking about the locker room and how players are not buying in the Judge, and maybe some of it's fair, maybe some of it's not, but that's the way it works. The fans are going to look for any little thing to be upset about. And obviously a lot of it is warranted. Joe Judge so far has not done a good job with the New York Giants this year, has not had them prepared. You go back to the challenge when he challenged it when he shouldn't have, when they lost the timeout, his usage of the timeouts this past game, all the penalties that the New York Giants have committed. They've committed 23 in 3 games. They committed 81 and 16 last year. So, it's just not nearly as disciplined as a team so far. And he's just coming out and he's getting out coached and out game plan. So you expect to see that be more and more of a storyline in terms of.
You got that right. He's out coached.
And I'll tell you right now, he's going to be out coached this week. I have tremendous respect for Sean Payton. He's a damn good coach in the National Football League. So don't expect Joe Judge to out coach Sean Payton.
Lou, thank you, brother. Lou Mateo, really. We need a good old-fashioned Jim Fossil guarantee playoff run. It starts Sunday. You got to remember something. When Jim Fossil made that guarantee, the Giants were 7-4. We haven't been 7-4 in God knows how long. So there's going to be no playoff guarantee from Joe Judge. I can tell you that. They start winning and they're 6-3 or something. They win 6 in a row, then maybe you can come out with that. But till let's win a game before we make a playoff.
Yeah, let's win a game. Let's win a game first.
What did Jim Morris say? Playoffs? Playoffs?
We just
Playoffs?
lost.
Are you kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. That's really what it is.
Baddog, we just lost to the Atlanta Falcons at home
On
without
Eli
their
Manning.
number one corner and without their number 2 wide receiver, and we had 3 extra days to prepare than they did.
And they gave up 80 points in 2 games.
They gave up 80 points in 2 games. And Authentic brought up a good point. I saw it in the chat earlier. A lot of people point to Garrett, rightfully so. You know, I don't think Garrett's a great offensive coordinator. But the reason they didn't score more points in that game, sure, some of it's on Garrett, but a lot of it was self-inflicted. You go back, you look when we got into the red zone. The offensive line completely fell apart on one drive.
Fumbled snap.
Well, that was on Jones. The fumble snap, that's another drive. But there was another drive where they threw the screen pass to Ingram, where that got completely blown up within a second because Bredesen whipped on a block. And then the very next play, Billy Price whipped on a block. And Daniel Jones got sacked for like a 10 or 15-yard loss. So a lot of our mistakes last week were self-inflicted. And, you know, some people say, well, if they could clean up that, maybe they'll start winning football games. But we've been saying that forever. You know, the New York Giants won 18 games since 2016. 6 of them were against the Washington Redskins. 12 games outside of that. Our only 2 impressive wins have been the Chicago Bears when they made the playoffs in 18 and the Seahawks last year in 20. Outside of that, we haven't really beat anybody of notoriety.
Nope, not at all. L.A. Lou, thank you so much. Really saying hi to my East Coast bros. Let's hang for a few hours. From what I've seen, Barkley's looking good. If he could just get some help up front. I think he's getting better. I don't know if he's looking good yet, but I think that he is looking better. Like he's getting there, you know, little by little. He is getting there. Whoops, shoot. Johnny, sorry, man. I missed that. I didn't mean to click off of that damn thing. Now I got to find it here.
Also, I was just thinking about also there was bad penalties in that game too. But as far as Barkley goes, Baddog, I agree. I think you started to see him get closer. You saw him make that cut where he put all that weight on his knee, which you really didn't see in the first 2 games. We had that nice 15 or 20-yard run where he popped it to the outside. But the one thing that I continue to notice with Barkley, he's not reading the right holes on certain runs. There was one run, I forgot who pointed it out. I think it was Alex Wilson, maybe on Twitter, where he could have had a touchdown. He had a big hole on the left side. He decided to cut it back over the middle. There was another play on the screen pass where I think it was a 3rd and 20, and he picked up 10 or 11 yards. Had he followed his blocker, he may have picked up 17 or 18 yards. So Barkley doesn't seem to be reading the holes right. Maybe
he never has.
In fact, him getting back into football shape and not playing for a while, but that's got to get much better.
I agree. I mean, that's what they're saying. They're pretty much saying Jason Garrett told him he needs to be more north and south. That's what they said. I read an article that said you need to be more of a north and south guy, and he does. He does. He needs to see a hole and go. He can't hesitate. Yeah. Johnny Letourneau, thank you, brother. Really bad dog. Rumors are coming up now. The Eagles are going for Watson. I don't believe it'll happen. How much would it help our current coaching staff? I'm going to tell you this right now. You must have been watching Philly 500's video because if you actually watched Lord Brunson got it right. Deshaun Watson will not waive his no-trade clause to go play for Philadelphia. He doesn't want to play there. So I know content creators, because they read that bleed green. It's an Eagles blog. Like that'd be the equivalent of me writing a blog and saying, hey, the Giants are interested in Deshaun Watson. That whole Eagles thing is garbage. They never get anything right. It's a fan's perspective, and they just blowing smoke up your ass. Deshaun Watson does not want to go to Philadelphia. He said he will not waive his no-trade clause to play there. So
yeah, I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised if that's the case. They're not a team that's anywhere near winning. And if I was an Eagles fan, as good as Watson is, for what you'd have to give up to get him, and the amount of money that he would tie up into your cap, I don't think I don't know if that's the best move, the moves for the Eagles anyway. If I'm assuming what they'd have to give up to get him.
Olivia, thanks so much. Really appreciate you. Let's interview Kellen Moore for head coach. I think we're good with Cowboys offensive coordinators, Olivia. I'm just saying. Cowboys coaches, I think are pretty good at that. Roldy, thank you, my man. Brilly. He says, blessed to have my son born this morning at 10:31. Hey, Roldy.
Hey, Roldy, man.
Congratulations, man. Brother. That is friggin' awesome.
Roldy's
7 pounds, 9 ounces, healthy boy. I already whispered in his ear to be real. Never let your fandom cloud the reality like some people. Oh, hey, what up, Chris? What he didn't tell you, is he named his son Chris. No, I'm just kidding.
Congratulations, Roldy.
That is awesome, Roldy. That's great stuff, man. There's nothing like
back to Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore is the coach in training in Dallas. I think they're molding him like they did Jason Garrett, and I've read that several times. So I don't even know if he'd want to leave Dallas. He might be the guy that they know is going to be the long-term answer there after McCarthy.
I agree. I can definitely see that happening. McCarthy's probably not much longer for the Cowboys. I mean, if they end up winning like a Super Bowl, I'm sure he could retire. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree. I think Kellen Moore is probably the future of the Cowboys as far as their head coach goes. Alex, thank you, my man. Really. On a side note, can we rebrand a little bit? New Jersey's new helmet, updated logo, new stadium. Nothing crazy, but something fresh. I want the old school Giants on the side of the helmet again.
Alex, I'm open to, and I'd change the team name if it could get this team to win football games right now. I mean, I'll call ourselves the New York Sewer Rats if we'll win football games. So I'm with you, Alex, man.
We've been playing like that.
We are playing like Sewer Rats. But
Duke.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, Duke. Really, man. Thank you so much for becoming a member again. Duke Bothers, welcome back to the Dog Pound. Dog Pound members, welcome our boy, Boomer Sooner Duke, into the Dog Pound. Duke, let's win. Can we kick some ass this week? Can we beat K-State for a change? Kansas State beat us like the last 2 years. Can Oklahoma find it, please? Synagogue Steak, thank you, brother. Really. The difference, man. Oklahoma's 4-0, and I'm pissed at the way they're playing. I'd kill for the Giants to win one damn game. It's amazing, the difference, you know. Synagogue State says if the G-Men were not a bad team, they would be 2-1. Facts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Washington game, it was a lot of self-inflicted things. And yeah, Atlanta, of course. Atlanta's a horrible team, and we had every opportunity to beat them. You know, like I just said, we killed our players by themselves, just not being disciplined, killed 2 drives. You know, with the sacks from the offensive line and the fumbled snap by Daniel Jones. So little things like that, and we see it every week, though, is what kills bad football teams. And the New York Giants are not a good football team.
Yep. Corey Lewis, thank you, brother. Really. I don't understand how Jones can play a near perfect game and this fan base will still bash him. Fans just want him to fail to say, I told you so. I always say, Corey, I don't care how people root for their team or who they criticize. I don't care. But when people root against the team to say they're right, that's BS. That's just for their own ego. I'd much rather say a player stinks and they end up winning. I'm telling you I'm wrong than ever saying, hey, I was right about this and they suck. I don't want that. I want to be wrong. If I say a player stinks on my team, and I want them to prove me wrong. But I think the biggest thing with Daniel Jones is fans just want to win games. And we haven't won. But Daniel Jones has not been the problem. That's a fact.
He's not been the problem, no. And I think the Washington game, he was the only reason we were in the game, if we're being honest with ourselves, with how the defense played. Last game, of course, I'm not going to pin the game on him. The one thing that I will say, he did have an opportunity to win the game, and he didn't do it.
Exactly, and he's had that opportunity a lot.
And the fumble caused us at least 3 points on the fumbled snap that he recovered. When Billy Price snapped it to him. So he had an opportunity with a tie game late in that game, and he couldn't drive us down the field. So I understand in that aspect. And at the end of the day, even though it may not be his fault, I'm a guy that supported Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones could be a good quarterback in the National Football League. If you can't win games, how could you warrant giving him a second contract? Right. If he can't win games as a rookie, even though it may not be mainly his fault due to the fact of a very poor support surrounding roster, how can you warrant giving him 20% or 15% of your salary cap, which is what quarterbacks get paid?
Right. It'd be tough. I mean, it's not a good situation at all. Christopher Spires, thank you, brother. Really, why I think the Giants play so conservative? Do they not have confidence in Jones? I do think part of it is that, and I'll say this, Chris, and I mentioned this before, and I get your thought on this. I think that Daniel Jones is struggling because they're telling him not to turn the damn ball over.
I agree.
I think this is in his freaking head. Don't turn the ball. Like Pat Shermer just said, go out there and throw it around, whatever. I don't care if you turn it over. So he did turn it over a lot more frequently, but he also had bigger plays. But when you're sitting there going, I can't make a mistake. You're thinking too much, and nobody can succeed under that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what happened when these guys came in here. Why all of a sudden he's different quarterback? I really don't know. But I would like to see them be freaking aggressive. You got nothing to lose.
Baddog, I'm watching last night, Thursday Night Football. I watched the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So did I won money. Thank you, Jacksonville. Thank you. Okay.
And I left that game saying to myself, this is how bad the Giants are right now. I left that game saying to myself, I wish the Giants played more like those teams. And there was a play on 4th and 2, the exact same situation early in the fourth quarter. It was a close ball game. I don't remember if it was tied. I think it was tied at the time, 14 apiece. And the Jacksonville Jaguars elected to go with it with a rookie quarterback on 4th and 2 from the 39-yard line.
They also went for it on 4th and 1.
Situation.
They also went for it on 4th and 1 before the half.
Yeah, and they went for it on 4th.
Which I did not like that, honestly. I thought you should have went up by 3 scores. But There's just, guys, I see you talking about the Yankees in the comment section. I see it, but I'm superstitious. So I will not turn that game back on. I will not. If they win, awesome. I'll go back and watch it, but I will not put the game on. I'm not putting it back on. Not putting it back on because I turn it off and I get back in it. So I have to go back. I can't turn it back on. I can't do it. I that's the way I am. So can't turn it on. I see you guys like, Baddog, put the game back on. No. No. I'll put it on. They win. The guy, somebody told me it was 6-1.
I hate to break it to you, Baddog, because I had the and maybe this is wrong. I see it's a final. Rays won 4-3.
Well, I'm behind here. The guy, thank you, brother. Really, is it weird that I won't be mad if the Giants lose this weekend? It's a huge game for the city of New Orleans. I'll be happy for them. I don't think it's weird. I just spilled soda all over myself. I don't think it's weird, but I'm not rooting for New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm a Giants fan. I think it's weird.
I'm not going
to be honest with you. I never, whenever the Giants play anybody, I'm never going to feel happy for them if we lose to them. That's just me. But maybe, there's some teams that I guess I'm happy for the city of New Orleans. You could say that. But in terms of the team, no, I'll be pissed off if the Saints win.
Yeah. John Kim, thank you, brother. Really appreciate you. We desperately need a pass rusher. We found one in Aziz. And both of our first rounders are top 10 picks. I'm taking Evan Neal, Kayvon Thibodeau. No cornerbacks in 2022. Class is worth taking top 10. I agree about the quarterbacks, but I don't want Evan Neal. I would take Thibodeau, one side of the ball, and Lindenbaum center. I definitely want Tyler Lindenbaum. You want to go with Kayvon Thibodeau from, what does he play for, Oregon?
Yeah.
That's fine, but this is the thing. We're only 4 games into the college football season. So I always like to wait till we get closer to December to see really who, because guys can really step up. But this Tyler Lindenbaum kid is special. Now, I haven't watched a lot of Thibodeau play but I have to start watching. Oregon's a really good team. And they usually play late.
He got hurt. He missed a couple of games.
Who's that?
Thibodeau. He's been hurt.
I didn't know that. I haven't watched Oregon play. Yeah. So I just heard the name a lot. But I definitely watched a lot of Iowa this year, and Iowa's good. And that Tyler Lindenbaum kid can freaking maul.
I'll tell you what, man.
And I'm not you guys know I'm not a hog guy like Chris. Chris dreams of hogs. I like defensive line. I like defense, but I like this Lindenbaum.
I'll tell you what, man. You know what would put me in hog heaven? Taking Lindenbaum and Evan Neal. Evan Neal is a beast. Evan Neal is 6'7", 350 pounds, plays for Alabama, and that guy is a freaking animal. I would not be opposed to doing that at all. And I know a lot of Giants fans may not want to hear that. Now, if Thibodeau's obviously a generational edge rusher, which many say, and he's there, yeah, you take him. But if he's off the board and you could try to sew up 2 offensive linemen in the first round next year, I just want to get this over with, Baddog. I'm sick of continuing to say year after year after year after year, oh, they got to get the offensive line situated. Fix the freaking line, man. That's where it all starts. Got to get that situated. If you have an opportunity to do that in this year's draft, whether it be with one of those first-round picks and a second-round pick, you got to find a way to shore it up.
Yep. Robert, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really. What up, fellas? Got an 8-miler to run tomorrow. God bless you, sir. He says, Baddog, don't lose hope. G-Men can still turn this around. My Eagles stink. I love that you're an Eagles fan, Robert. You think the Giants can turn it around, buddy. We stink worse than you. We stink. The only thing I'm hoping for, Robert, is that we beat you when we play you on November 28th, because I don't want to wear a damn Eagles jersey. So really, that's what my season's come down to already, is just beat the Eagles that game so I don't have to wear the damn Eagles jersey.
Beat them both games. We got to sweep them.
That's fine, but that first game we got to win, man. I can't be wearing no damn Eagles jersey. Yeah. I can't wear that damn thing. Oh, shit. Jake, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really. Sup, guys? So tell me, is post-LASIK Jameis for real? Well, I mean, he threw up 5 touchdowns, but I don't think any of them were more than like 10 yards. They're all really short passes.
Yeah, I want to look at I'm going to look at Jameis right now. I know he, like you said, I don't get to watch Saints games, if I'm being honest, but I know that he, like you said, he had the 5 touchdown game, and I've always liked Jameis Winston. I've always thought he's a talented quarterback. He just hasn't been put necessarily in the best situations, and he's very turnover prone. He doesn't make the best of decisions, but in terms of talent, he has it. But I mean, right now, Baddog, and I know he doesn't have any wide receivers right now with Thomas out, and they got Kamara, and that's about it. In 3 games, the guy's thrown for 387 yards. He's thrown for 128, 111, 148 yards. It's not like he's lighting the league on fire. I know he's got 7 touchdowns. And Sean Payton's a brilliant play caller, but I wouldn't say Winston scares me with the way that he's played so far this year.
Right. I can't put these on the screen, so sorry about that, guys. Zig, thanks so much. Really, how much you think a change at offense coordinator would help us? I don't think it would help that much as long as Joe Judge is in charge. I think Joe Judge has a lot to do with what we do on offense. He's the conservative one, so I don't think it matters. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it makes it like I know a lot of people. I'm okay. I'm fine with doing it now because I'm just sick of everybody saying it's all Garrett, and I just want at the end of the year people to say like, all right, we gave Jones every chance we possibly could. And maybe Garrett does need to be relieved of play calling duty. Maybe we would be better in the red zone. You change something up. You can't change the head coach unless you fire him, which I don't think is going to happen 3 games into the season. So that's why I'm kind of on board with it. But by no means do I think he is like the only problem this team has. I think there's several other problems with this team. But the thing is, Baddog, I'm kind of in agreement with you. Like, if you think it's the scheme, which a lot of people do, and I understand it, that's the problem with this offense, or at least part of the problem, the scheme's not going to change. If you change play callers mid-season. If you make Freddie Kitchens the offensive coordinator, it's still going to be the same scheme. He just may call different plays and maybe be a little bit more aggressive, but it's still going to be the same Air Coryell offense that Jason Garrett runs. They're not going to change the scheme game 4 into the regular season.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Arjun H, thank you, brother. Really love Saquon, but nothing like excitement like Odell had. Well, his rookie year he did. But Odell was on better teams.
Rookie year, he had the most scrimmage yards in football.
Yeah. LakerDog Sports, thank you, brother. Really. Name change. How about the New York milkshakes? Olivia, thank you so much, my lady. Really. She says Giants debuting white pants on Sunday.
Yep. Yeah. I said it on Twitter. I don't care if they wear garbage bags. Just win the freaking game. I can care less what they wear at this point.
Johnny Letourneau, thank you, my man. Really. Well, happy birthday. He says tomorrow's my birthday. I'll be 42, fellas. Always have y'all's back. Giants and Eagles are bad, but Washington fans think they're still good. They suck too. Actually, most Washington fans that I know, Johnny, you're admitting that their team is bad.
I think all 3 of us are bad.
Yeah, Dallas is good. Dallas has bragging rights. We the rest of us suck. It's bad. Dan D, thank you, brother. Really, won't win the World Series. The Boone is gone. That's a fact. We won't not win anything. The Boone is gone. That's a complete fact. I hate Aaron Boone. I hated him when he was earning 100 games a year. Can't get to the World Series. It gives a shit. I don't care about regular season wins. We're the Yankees. Win some damn World Series. Won 1 in 21 years. LT, thank you, brother. Really. Which franchise turns it around first? Y'all or us? Great question, LT, because I really don't know. We're both in a world of hurt. But I would say you guys, I think you're going to be in a better cap situation than we are because our cap sucks for the next few years. Now, you guys getting rid of Wentz, that actually helped. That helped your cap a lot. Yeah. Our cap is trash.
Our next year, after that, our cap's not bad, but for next year, it's bad.
It's bad.
I'd have to look at their roster for me to really answer that question. I mean, a lot of that for them is going to come down to how do they handle Hurts. Like if Hurts is the guy, like if they feel he's the guy going forward and he doesn't work out next year, then you're setting yourself back another year where you have to take it. So that's a tough question, man. It's going to depend on whether or not Hurts is your guy this year and whether or not if you do replace him, that guy ends up being a good quarterback. I know they have a lot of veterans on that team as well. So I don't know, man. That's a really good question. You also may have a new GM there if the Eagles suck this year. So
true.
Both of us are in a really tough spot right now.
That's true. I saw somebody ask, he said, Chris, this is Diet Coke. It's always Diet Coke in my mug.
Oh, Diet Coke.
Yeah, do you see the dark substance in there? It's always Diet Coke.
I'm drinking beer just because the Giants are so bad.
I'm not. I got to lay off the beer because I don't want to be LakerDog Sports anymore. I got to lay off the beer. Stanley, thank you, brother. Really says, hey, Chris and Baddog, I think Matt Corral and Malik Willis are the best quarterback in the 2022 draft. And Chris, the Cowboys are losing to the Giants.
I hope you're right, Stanley. I pray you're right.
I can't see it. I can't see it.
It could happen. It's a divisional game. It could definitely happen. But there's no way I'm picking us to beat them. Dallas is a much better team right now. You gotta be honest if you're a Giants fan. If you're watching their team and you're watching ours, especially with Blake Martinez out, we just lost to the Atlanta Falcons. At home.
Yeah.
How could you say we're better than Dallas right now? Anything could happen. Divisional game, and maybe by week 5, things are different. But right now, there's no way I could say that we're going to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
God, no. Jeremiah, thank you, brother. Really, gents. My favorite Giants content creators. Probably the only ones I rock with. Go Birds. Appreciate you, Jeremiah. You're the man, buddy. You are the man.
Jeremiah, man. I appreciate that, man.
We got some great Eagle fans in here. Really do. They're far and few between. So much respect to the Eagle fans in here because you guys are class acts. But we all know that most of them.
There's about 7 good Eagles fans. They're all in this stream right now.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Justin, thank you, brother. Really. Imagine moving Isaiah Wilson to guard and drafting Evan Neal. They're both about 6'7", 350. Let's see what Isaiah Wilson does first.
Yeah, what did you think about that pickup?
Well, I find it amusing that the Giants are all about culture. And yet here we go. DeAndre Baker, Kadarius Toney. Now Isaiah, what are you doing? We got rid of Odell Beckham because of if culture's that important, why are you signing this guy? And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't give a damn about culture. Win games. Winning builds culture. I don't care. Get a bunch of freaking people that have problems off the field. Any of you win games. I don't give a damn about them personally. It don't affect me. The only thing that affects me is what they do on the field because it drives me insane. Win some damn games. But no, seriously, what are they going to do?
To me,
you're desperate.
I saw a lot of people like flipping out about it. And yes, I guess like you could definitely say like they come across a little bit hypocritical. But
they're desperate, Chris. I mean, what are you going to do?
The way I look at that, Baddog, is when have the New York Giants ever told the truth? They said they weren't going to trade Beckham. They traded him. Josh Brown was still on the team after he beat his wife. Like it's not like the Giant, that maybe they like to portray that they're above everybody else, but they're not.
Nope.
And a guy like Isaiah Wilson, former first-round pick just a year ago, and I know he's had a ton of problems, but it's a flyer. You're not risking anything there. He's on the practice squad. You're paying him a league minimum salary.
Yeah, what else can we do?
Yeah, he's from New York. Maybe he gets his head on straight, a former teammate of Andrew Thomas at Georgia. So I actually really like that pickup. Now, it may not turn out to be anything. He may never even make the team and get off the practice squad, but we'll see. But at least a guy with some potential on the offensive line. He was a much more highly regarded prospect than Matt Parrott was in the same draft. So just a year ago. So I think it's a good pickup by the Giants. I think he's a little bit overweight, they said. So he's got to lose a couple of pounds. But I was excited when the Giants brought him in.
Yep. Gary J, thank you, brother. The dog and Tainah. It doesn't get any better than this. Love both of you and your show, guys. Will this offense ever get a lot better with this patchwork crap offensive line? I have my doubts. Go G-Men.
This is the fourth guard in 4 games that's playing next to Andrew Thomas.
Insane, isn't it?
4. And it's injuries, to be fair. I mean, Shane Lemieux went down. Nick Gates went down. There's been injuries. But this is the 4th guard, and now you got Matt Skura playing over there, who's a center, so he's playing out of position. And it's amazing that Andrew Thomas has looked as good as he has. When you factor in that he's playing next to a new guard every week, it's been a complete disaster. And I had a bad feeling about that. I think we all had a bad feeling about this offensive line going into the year. And now with all the injuries, it's only made it more challenging. It's been a miracle that this line's at least been bad and not horrific.
Yep.
so yeah.
Mike Gorga, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Billy Sanchez and Odor struck out with runners at first seconds. Gary Sanchez is, I can't say anything else about Gary Sanchez. The guy is complete and utter trash, and he needs to get the hell out of here. The Yankees better not bring that guy back next year. He's a guy I really want to haul off and punch him right in his fat face as hard as I can. I can't stand Gary Sanchez. Now I have some dumb analytical dork talking about, his OBGYN was freaking 3.48. Yeah. Tell me more about his OBGYN, his UPS, and his FBI. Give me more letters and numbers after that. Makes no difference.
What do they call the LBDQ community? Whatever.
Right. LBGDBQ,
XYZ, triple X.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever. The what's the American Dental? So the ADS or whatever, the FBI, the ATF. Any other initials you can put and then throw some number behind it. Try to tell me Gary Sanchez is good. Guy is a complete trash can. Should be pumping gas in Jersey. I say it all the time, and that's where he belongs. He should be pumping. He sucks. Raw Rebel, thank you, brother. Billy. Does anyone need to get fired if the Giants go 0-5?
Yeah.
I'm going to fire him that early. I'm thinking, Chris, if we make that move, it comes after before our bye week.
The only guy that I could see getting fired, like of notoriety, is Garrett at 0-5. And I'm going to tell you what, Baddog, and again, I agree. He's being the punching bag. He's been the punching bag. He's definitely part of the problem. I'm not trying to excuse his play calling. It's not great, but there's a lot more problems. And I think Joe Judge is a bigger problem, being that he's the head coach. Okay. But you can't fire the head coach. Only the owner could do that, right? And he's not going to fire the head coach five weeks in.
Right.
Firing Gettleman doesn't really do much. What are you going to get? Like a guy to step in like Abrams for the rest of who cares? So the only guy that I could see being fired that makes an impact or potential impact for this season by week 5 is Garrett. And I'm actually going to come out and make this prediction, Baddog. If the Giants start 0-5, I don't see them coming back home with Jason Garrett still calling plays, because you saw what they did to Evan Ingram. You saw what they did to John Mara. Could you imagine the New York Giants with as much hate that is going towards Jason Garrett? Fans want him fired already. If they get off to an 0-5 start, I don't see John Mara bringing him back to MetLife Stadium at 0-5 if the offense continues to play the way they've played.
It's possible. Then, I was talking to Fisk the other night, and he makes a good point, too. How do you know that they're not grooming Jason Garrett to be the head coach?
If they do that, man, there's no way. There's no way.
You never know. Didn't they want to interview Jason Garrett as head coach?
If they do that, there will be a riot at MetLife Stadium. I don't see that happening. That would be ridiculous.
Listen, I'm not saying Jason Garrett is anything great. Jason Garrett's a completely different personality than Joe Judge. And again, I'm not placing this whole – Jason Garrett's getting too much blame. Does he deserve blame? Absolutely. Yeah. It's too much, though. He is not the sole reason that this team can't get out of its own way. He's not.
Baddog. Baddog. He was the punch last year, and we loved him too. All Giants fans loved him. They wanted to get behind him. They loved the personality of Judge. I still like Joe Judge's personality. I just don't like the way he's coaching this year.
He lied to us too, Chris.
Yeah, and I think like last year it was like a Joe Judge love fest where nobody wanted to point anything at Joe Judge. So rather than doing that and being like, well, yeah, but Joe Judge is the guy he's at least responsible for the offensive game plans, everything went towards Jason Garrett. And I think he was the punching bag. But I think this year fans are starting to realize, well, he's the head coach. He's signing off on this. He's just as responsible, if not more responsible. And even you go back to last year, right? Because again, going into this year, I was positive. I like the direction of this football team. But you go back to last year, we talked about what we hated. We didn't like the musical chairs. We hated what he did with the offensive line last year. And he brought Daniel Jones back way too early.
Yeah, he wasn't ready. That Cardinal game, he was limping, and he left him out there.
He left him out there in the third quarter. So Joe Judge was not perfect last year either.
No. Roldy, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, really, really. If only we re-signed Dalvin Tomlinson instead of Leonard Williams. Think about what we could have done with some money. Some want to say Jones having a good season. Turnovers are down, yet there's same fans who want to kill Garrett. Yeah, this is another good point. They're saying, well, it's conservative, but Jones isn't turning the ball over at all. So, I mean,
I want to take more shots, though. I'll say that. But
maybe they do have to take more shots. They do. Sometimes that's on Daniel Jones, too. He's not throwing the ball down the field. He's checking it down.
Maybe that's somewhat on Jones. Maybe that's somewhat on the offensive line. I know a lot of people hate the route concepts. Understandably so. I watch some of the tape that people break down. I see where they're getting at. But I think there's blame to go around. I don't think it's just exclusively Jason Garrett.
The other thing I'll say about Dalvin Tomlinson is, listen, I'm not going to lie. I thought Leonard Williams deserved the money. I mean, he had a huge year last year. I just didn't realize how much they'd missed Dalvin Tomlinson. But there was no way that Gettleman was going to let Leonard Williams walk since Gettleman traded for him. That was not going to happen.
Yeah.
And he didn't draft Dalvin Tomlinson. So,
and listen, not having Dalvin Tomlinson is definitely making an impact, but I'll say this, and I could continue to say it, and it's what I believe, and I think most people agree with me on it. If you brought back Dalvin Tomlinson, you didn't bring back Leonard Williams, you're not getting the same Dalvin Tomlinson either. Dalvin Tomlinson benefited from Leonard Williams just as much as Leonard Williams benefited from Dalvin Tomlinson. Yeah. It's just that Leonard Williams cost more money. Leonard Williams was always coming back. Now, what they could have done was not re-sign Logan Ryan.
That's a fact. I didn't know why they did that.
And potentially use that money on Dalvin Tomlinson because they got paid the same amount of money.
They drafted a Jay McKinney, so I didn't understand that at all.
But Leo was always coming back.
Yeah. Nikki, thank you, brother. Really, really. You guys got to say my cup is a lot lighter. Definitely stronger. So depressed from this team. I can barely think football. Give me Stingley and Neal.
Yeah, Stingley's. I think he's a cornerback prospect.
Yes,
I'm going to look more into the draft as it gets closer, Nicky. Right now, I'm focused on the Giants, but I may be talking about it a lot sooner than I want to.
Will Casal, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, really, really. My girlfriend's an Eagle fan. We need to beat them. Oh, God bless you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, man.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, well, she's probably hot. That's my guess.
Well, she's got to be hot. If you're dating, I'll tell you what, right now, and he looked like a good-looking guy. His girlfriend better be at least a 9. If she's an Eagles fan, she's got to be at least a 9, maybe a 9.5.
Yeah, because she loses a couple points just for being.
You lose at least 2 points being an Eagles fan. So for an Eagles fan to be a 10, she's got to be a 12.
Yeah, yeah. But we do have to beat them because you definitely need bragging rights. You don't want your girl ragging on you. That's a fact. Until they're married, then she can brag on you every day of your life, like my wife does to me. So my wife's brutal, trust me. So when these people try to talk trash to me in here, I'm like, you guys are lightweights, man. My wife talks better trash to me than all these people combined. You know. Easy Lopez, thank you, brother. Brilly. I think we need a young GM who knows the players. Agreed. I can't see us. We need to go younger. We get rid of Gettleman. It's got to happen.
Yeah, well, you can't go older. He's like 70 years old.
That's a fact. Weapon X, we could go Belichick.
We could. Good point.
Really, honest opinion of Micah Parsons. I love him. I want the Giants to draft him.
He's looked really good. He's looked really good with the Dallas Cowboys. And yeah, I always knew he was going to be a really good football player. He was regarded as one of the top 5 or 6 best talents in the draft. He only fell because of character concerns. Yep.
Sir censored a lot. Thank you, brother. Brilly. Dallas getting better, younger at the same time. Listen, Dallas looks good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything bad about Dallas.
We
knew their offense was going to be really good. Didn't know the defense would be as good as it is.
I'm not trying to brag. I hate Dallas, but I was actually talking about this today. Look at Dallas's roster. You can at least make an argument outside of maybe the secondary and their secondary is even better than I thought it would be. Diggs has looked really good, but outside of that, you can make an argument that the Dallas Cowboys are the best at every position group in the division. The way that the defensive line for Washington's played so far this year, they definitely have the best linebackers. They definitely have the best wide receivers. They have the best running back duo. They have the best quarterback, and they certainly have the best offensive line.
Yep, agreed. Hope I'm saying this right. Peter Jingaleski, thank you so much. Brilly, my man. DJ needs to show he can play outside structure. Look at Burrow, Herbert, Lawrence, all scrambling to make big plays when the play call doesn't work. I agree. But you know what? I think that those guys, and again, Peter, I think this goes back to them telling Daniel Jones not to make mistakes. And sometimes I think Daniel Jones really isn't trying to force anything. And these young guys are just literally like, go out there and do what you got to do. And they're able to play without a leash on. Like, I do feel like Daniel Jones is being held back, whether that's by Jason Garrett, Joe Judge, or whatever. This isn't the guy that we saw his rookie season. It's not. And we've seen when he's gone deep, the few times he's gone deep, more often than not, it's positive. I mean, Darius Slayton dropped the touchdown. I mean, the ball was there. So, I mean, I don't know, but I agree. I would like to see him roll out more and make plays with his feet and, whatever. I think he's better like that, but
I will say, I thought
he's not any of those 3 guys you mentioned. Their skill set's ridiculous.
Yeah, I will say he has been doing that a little bit more, it seemed, last game. He was rolling out of the pocket, extending plays with his legs. But there was one play where, I didn't see it during the game, but when you watch it back on the old 22, a lot of people pointed to where he had Slayton open over the middle in the red zone and he elected not to throw it to him. It would have been across his body. But yeah, I do think he was using his legs a bit more and getting outside the pocket. But yeah, in terms of his instincts, they're not on the same level as those guys. They're not. I mean, you watch Herbert last night. I mean, he's a rookie, he's slinging it. I know he's not off to a great start, but you could see why this guy was drafted as high as he was.
Yeah, no doubt. Tutto, grazie, paisano, grazie, Billy. Don't be surprised if the best players are going to sit out for the season one by one due to injuries since they're not happy with the coaches. Well, I don't know about we have really bad luck when it comes to injuries too, Tutto. It's really bad.
I hope not, man. If they're going to do that, get rid of them.
Yeah, they're not team players. I mean, you got to play regardless. I mean, you're professionals, so you gotta play. DeCondre Baker, thank you, brother. Baddog, stop hating on Gary. It's not his fault. I really don't need to read the rest of that. Gary Sanchez sucks. There's no if. I'm not getting involved in that, man. Thank you for the super chat. He says, and they aren't bringing back Tanaka. He's elite. He's the reason I'm winning on fantasy. No, he's not. That's just a troll comment. There's no way you're winning with Gary Sanchez hitting 203. That's not why you're winning your fantasy baseball or whatever. No way. Not happening. Des, thank you so much. Really. Carl Banks says we don't have alphas. We got culture, a whole lot of nice guys. Dallas has a whole lot of alphas in court cases.
Yeah. I just don't think we have enough talent, if I'm being honest. Like where it matters most. We have talent, but where it matters most in the trenches, we don't have it. You look at Dallas's offensive line compared to ours, it's night and day. Our defensive line has not played nearly as good as it did last year. So I think it has a lot less to do with the culture in the locker room than we're not good where it matters most. And that's on the offensive line. And we
Or on the
haven't been
defensive line. We're not good in the
both
trenches.
sides. Both sides. Yeah.
Right. By the way, guys, you got 636 in the house. Thanks so much for being here. We only got 245 likes, though, so you know what to do. Smack the shit out of that like button, man. Smack it like it's hot. You know, hit that like button, man. Let's get at least 300, maybe 400 likes. Why not? I mean, it's the New York Giants. This is all we have. There's the likes for some positive vibes in there. So hit the like, hit the subscribe if you're new. More importantly, make sure you go into the description, and I'm sure my moderators have been dropping the link throughout the chat. Subscribe to the Entertainer Talking Sports. We do this show every week. We alternate channels. We also do every game together. We alternate channels. This week, we'll be doing the Saints on my channel. Next week, obviously, we got the big game against Dallas. That'll be on the Entertainers channel. So hopefully, if you guys are new, you'll hit the like, hit the subscribe. And of course, we thank you all so much for spending your Friday evening with us as we discuss the dumpster fire. Once again, that is the New York Football Giants. L.A. Lou, thank you, brother. Really, if you got Belichick, you'll never draft a good receiver again. He sucks at that. To be fair, we really don't have a good wide receiver core anyway.
I was about to, I saw somebody else in the chat say, what if Belichick became the Giants GM? Amazing guy. So I was about to bring that up as well. I don't want Bill Belichick to be the New York Giants GM personally. The guy, he's almost 70 years old. Obviously, he's a great head coach, but it's not like the Patriots have drafted well in recent drafts. And to me, that has like Phil Jackson vibes all over it. When Phil Jackson came to the New York Knicks, they gave him the power. I think he was the president of the team, and it was a complete disaster. Bill Belichick is a brilliant head coach. He gets the most out of his players, but if he's not coaching those players, he's not a long-term answer. The guy's approaching 70. I know a lot of Giants, that's like their dream. To me, that's got Phil Jackson written all over it with the New
I'd
York
rather him just be the head coach.
Of course, yeah. But the GM, I'm not a big fan of bringing in Belichick.
Me neither. Dave, thank you, brother. Really appreciate you. Can't wait for my favorite part of the week. The Giants having a great opening drive, then doing nothing the rest of the game. We've done that for 3 years. By the way, Chris, you mentioned the game against New Orleans, and I forgot to mention this. You mentioned the game against New Orleans last time they played. Oh, I remember it well because CBS didn't have the freaking game on for the first quarter and a half, so I missed all of it. I was watching the Titans and Jaguars in overtime.
Oh, is that okay? So
and I gave CBS the double salute that you're number one.
That was that game.
That was that game.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I
remember it. I remember it very well. That I missed the first 20 minutes of the game because they decided to play that. But yeah, that's absolutely.
The opening drive comment though was a great one by Dave because I would love to look at that stat because it always seems like the Giants do come out very prepared. They come out with a great game plan. The game before against Washington, they had a really long drive with a lot of good plays. Jones looked really sharp, and he was sharp throughout the entirety of that game. But probably their best drive, it seems like every week, is their first drive when they come out with the 6 or 7 or 8 scripted plays that they know they're going to start the game out with each and every week. And then when the defense makes some adjustments, the offense kind of goes to hell. But that's a great point by Dave.
Mike, thank you, brother. Really. We got 19 for the 50-50, but 8 won't throw it. I mean, I guess part of that's true. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know what the deal is. But, you know, I do want to talk about Kadarius Toney, Chris, because supposedly he's going to get more time. And I mentioned this in
How
my
could he
video.
not?
I mentioned this in my video, okay? I did a video saying, why the hell do we draft Kadarius Toney? And, you know, I read the comments, and most people say they don't understand either. But some people are like, well, he's not playing because he doesn't know the playbook, and he wasn't in training camp, and he was hurt, and he had COVID, and blah, 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 blah. When the hell did God, I can't think of his freaking name now. The hell's the guy from Texas? Why the hell all of a sudden
Colin Johnson.
What is it? Colin Johnson. I was going to call him freaking Calvin Johnson. Colin Johnson. How long has Colin Johnson been here? How long Colin Johnson been with? Was Colin Johnson here in preseason? Was Colin Johnson here for the postseason or the practice? Was he here for preseason games? Did he get a rapport with Daniel Jones? Was he on the field with Daniel Jones at any point before he brought him in here 2 weeks ago? How did he get 5 catches? How does he get more playing time than Kadarius Toney?
I mean, my answer to you is they feel like he's not. That's the only thing that can make sense is they feel that Toney's not ready. That's the only thing that can make any sense, whether it be to his lack of exposure in preseason, the injuries, and everything else. But I'm with you, man. You draft the guy in the first round. You expect him. I think the first couple of weeks, understandable. 3 or 4 days apart, coming off the injury, didn't even really get snaps in preseason until like a week before the start of the regular season. Would I have liked to see a little bit more? Sure, but I thought it was somewhat understandable. I need to see more of a role going forward. And last week we barely used him. And this week with all the injuries, you need to see him out there a lot more. And they need to be more creative. And it was something I worried about when we drafted him. I actually liked Toney as a prospect, but I didn't know if the Giants were a good fit because Jason Garrett's not the most innovative guy. And I don't know. He's not your run-of-the-mill type of wide receiver. So I don't know if the New York Giants could get the most out of him.
The hell did they draft him for, though? That was the whole point. I never understood. Lloyd says we need a young masterminded GM. I don't know GMs. Like everyone's like, Baddog, who'd you take for the next GM? I don't know any GMs. I really don't. I know where they come from.
That people have talked about in the past, but I
don't want a retread. I can tell you that. I don't want somebody that's been a GM in the past.
Like Dorsey, for example. People bring him up.
But I think that's what Lloyd means. We need a young mastermind as a new GM, meaning you need somebody different for a change and not a retread. You know,
I see Crimson Shadow say, and I see people say this all the time. I don't get Giants fans' fixation with Louis Riddick.
Louis Riddick wanted Isaiah Simmons. So did I, for that matter.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been the right pick. Think about what our offensive line would look like if we didn't take Thomas.
Right. And he also wanted Dwayne Haskins. What does Dwayne Haskins do?
And he said he would have taken Barkley, and he said that he would have extended Landon Collins.
And we would have Dwayne Haskins as our quarterback.
I don't get
the fixation.
I don't get the fixation that Giants fans have with Louis Riddick. Maybe they like him on TV. I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't know. I don't trust him, though. Happy Huntsman, thank you, brother. Brilly. Shermer would have beat Atlanta. Shermer probably would have beat Washington, too. I'll tell you one thing Shermer and Judge have in common. They both love to freaking waste their timeouts and really piss poor clock management. I don't know what it is about that, but God almighty, neither one of them know what the hell they're doing. Comes to the clock.
I agree with him. I think we would have won the game if Shermer was the head coach. As sad as that may sound, I think we would have won the game.
I agree. Taha, thank you, brother. Brilly. I'd rather have Jones over Burrow, Lawrence, etc. It's too early for me to say that, especially with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that kid's got nothing there, and he's got a terrible head coach, mind you. He will not be, but Urban Meyer's not making it through the year. Urban Meyer will be the head coach of USC next year, mark my words. And Joe Burrow is pretty damn good.
I listen, man, I like Jones, and I do think he could be a good quarterback in the NFL. But Joe Burrow's, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, when you watch him, the talent it is there. You can see it, man. I know he hasn't won any games yet because his team is horrible. And Joe Burrow, man, game on the line. He had a game-winning drive last night. When's the last time we could say that about Daniel Jones? He's 3-1 this year. He's got, I think, 9 touchdowns so far this year. So, it's hard, I don't know about that, if I'm being honest with you and being completely unbiased. Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence to me looked pretty good last night, albeit he was going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I know Burrow didn't look good against the Bears, but he's got the Bengals, who aren't the most talented team in the world, off to a 3-1 start.
Right. T. Higgins is hurt.
I mean, I got to be fair and unbiased. I don't think I'd agree with that right now.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's pretty good. Lawrence, it's too early with Lawrence, but Joe Burrow's good.
Yeah.
Frisco Jajo, thank you, brother. Brilly. How y'all like Jason Garrett? We don't. You all need to let Toney run some bubble screens and jet sweeps. We them boys. You're right. They got to get Kadarius Toney involved somehow, some way in open space. You saw it a couple of times. You saw the 2 catches he had against Atlanta. He did make a lot of guys miss. He's twitchy. He's definitely, when you get him out in space, I'm not comparing him to Odell Beckham, but he's got that type of skill set in the open field where he can run away from the defenders. He can make a lot of people miss. He is the guy we're looking for that could take a slant 80 yards at a house. He is the guy, in my opinion. He's the one receiver on this team that is the home run hitter. But does he know how to play football at an NFL level is the big question, Which is probably, like you said, Chris, maybe you're right. Maybe they don't think he's ready.
He was a very inexperienced. He didn't even become a full-time wide receiver until his last year at Florida.
Right. And you mentioned last week, a lot of that might have had to do with Kyle Pitts.
That's what a lot of people said. Yeah.
So I don't know, but I would like to at least see what the hell he can do.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, we could use all the weapons we can freaking get, right? Yeah. Like I said, the one thing I like, at least maybe they found something with Colin Johnson, and I've always liked Colin Johnson, so maybe
Maybe.
I wasn't going to. Calvin Johnson's all I kept calling. I knew his last name was Johnson.
I wish
kept
it was
thinking
Calvin
Johnson. I wish.
Yeah. I wish it was Calvin Johnson.
Dave, thank you, brother. Brilly. I'm at a point where I can't even watch other teams succeed because I get so mad for why the Giants just came by. That statement, that is exactly how I feel, Chris. I don't know about you, but when I watch other teams play and I watch them convert 3rd and 7, and I watch how easy like a 7-yard pass is, or they throw it a screen out and they get 19 yards and they make it look so easy. And our 4-yard passes are like pulling teeth. And we have no yards after the catch. There isn't one guy on the Giants that makes guys miss in the second level, which is another reason we have no big plays on offense, because none of these guys outside of Kadarius Toney can make guys miss. Gollin ain't going to make you miss. Slayton ain't going to make you miss. Shepard ain't going to. Well, Shepard can a little bit. But Kadarius Toney's the guy that's making you miss.
A healthy Barkley can make you miss.
Right, but Barkley's not. I'm talking about like in the receiving game.
Yeah.
Barkley gets at a second level, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I do. If I'm being fair, I do think some of that's on the play calling, though. I don't think that Garrett gets these receivers in situations where they have he doesn't scheme guys open. And it's why I thought the Giants should have brought in a West Coast style offense. Jones looked great in the Pat Shurmur scheme. They were obviously beat up on some bad teams, and I know he had turnovers, but there were a lot more big plays in the Pat Shurmur scheme. I thought they should have went with a West Coast style play caller. I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, but when you have, and it's not Garrett's fault. I almost put very little blame on Garrett because I think he was put in a situation where he can't succeed. To run the offense that he wants to run, you need a strong offensive line. The Giants don't have it, and it's why I thought a West Coast style offense would have been a better fit.
Yeah, I completely agree. West Coast offense helped Eli Manning a lot at the end of his career, too.
And by the way, that's on Judge.
I know.
And I know a lot of people say it's Mara, and I'm sure it was Mara influenced. But at the end of the day, you're the head coach. You're going to get responsibility for it, right? We had our conspiracy theories that Mara may have forced Eli on Gettleman. At the end of the day, that still falls on Gettleman. Judge signed off on saying that Jason Garrett would be a good fit to be the OC. I don't think he was a good fit.
Tozy says, Chad needs to Google Joe Hortiz and get used to the name. Top 5 candidate to be the next Giants GM. I wanted to highlight that because I've never heard that name, but obviously there is somebody that knows something about the GM or whatever. So, J Money, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really. We got 666 in the show. Well, it just jumped, but we had 666, and it's October, so I wanted to give that a quick note. But hit the like button if you haven't. That's important. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe if you're new. Again, thank you for watching. Make sure you go into the description. Subscribe to this guy over here because we're going to be doing this on this channel next week, and we're going to be talking about our first win. I'm thinking Jesus is sitting next to me this week, Chris.
I see Charles saying, no, that's Gettleman totally. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know if he's saying it's Gettleman totally about selecting Saquon. Well, I don't even remember what I said, but about what I initially said or about Jason Garrett. I do not think Jason Garrett is Dave Gettleman totally, because if I'm being honest, look at every other coach on this coaching staff. It was clearly picked, hand-selected by Joe Judge. Every other coach on this staff had a connection to Joe Judge in some way, shape, or form. So if you're going to give Judge, it was obvious that Judge had a huge influence on this coaching staff. So I'm not going to say that Garrett is on Gettleman if that's what he's referencing. I don't know if that's what he's referencing. I do think that Judge signed off on it. I'm not saying, I'm obviously, I think Mara gave it a recommendation, but Judge was part of the interviewing process and he signed off on it.
Great. J Money, thank you, brother. Really looking back at the OBJ trade, was it a good move or a bad move for your franchise? Go Cowboys, baby. We got a lot of Cowboys fans there. Cowboys fans feeling good. You should. Your team looks really good. I think it had to be done. I think that move had to be done. I said that years ago. I thought after 2017, the beginning of 2017, I said the Giants should trade him. He wasn't winning any games here. And I think the biggest reason the Giants did trade him was because they didn't want him yapping in Daniel Jones' ear. I feel like they knew they were taking a quarterback. They didn't want that. He ran over Eli Manning. He threw Eli Manning under the bus a bunch of times, and I feel like they didn't want him influencing them. Now, Dave Gettleman said we don't sign him. We're not going to trade him. We don't trade talent, but the fact of the matter is when the Giants signed him, they had control. They got more value. If OBJ was a free agent and they tried to trade him, they wouldn't have gotten anything. So they signed him so that whoever had him had him for the next 4 years, and I'll always go to my grave with that. But honestly, I don't know if it was good or bad, but it had to be done.
Yeah, here's what I'll say about that trade. And we're going to be talking about that trade 10 years from now because everybody just loves Odell Beckham, and I get it. He was the face of the franchise, the most exciting player. A lot of people are Giants fans because of Odell Beckham. So I obviously see the emotional attachment. I was very emotionally attached to Eli Manning. I get it. And I hate talking about this trade. It's over and done with. This thing's 3-4 years ago now. But I'm in complete agreement with you. And I think any fan, if they're being completely unbiased and honest, has to say, like, okay, I could understand that being a reason. You know, you're bringing in a young quarterback. You saw how he acted with the greatest quarterback in franchise history. How is he going to act when you have a struggling rookie quarterback? And I do think that was a concern for the New York Giants, and I do think that was the main reason why they made the trade. In terms of whether or not they won the trade, I don't think they won the trade, but I don't think Cleveland won it either. I don't think anybody has really made out on this trade, right. But I understood the trade when the New York Giants made it for the reason that I said. And the other thing I'll say is, and a lot of people say, well, if Beckham stayed healthy, you lose the trade, and that's fair. If Beckham even stayed healthy with the Giants, Baddog, how many games were we really winning? How many games did we win when he was here? And this team is not much better. So how many games were we really winning if Beckham's here?
Not many. Not many. Even when he was electric, his first 3 years, you know, we were no good. Yeah. I mean, we won games in 2016 because he had a couple of big slant passes for touchdowns, but I mean, the offense was good, but we still couldn't win games, which is why I said we need to take that money and put it in different positions. And they tried that, and guess what? It didn't work because we don't have the right guys. It wouldn't matter what we did. The Giants, they were doomed to fail. Gettleman has done a poor job. It's just the way it is. This is 4 years now. We're 0-3 again, and we signed a bunch of high-priced free agents, and we're no better. And like I said, we might be worse than we were 4 years ago.
I disagree with one, and I know he was the best player on that offense, and he made a lot of big plays, but the defense is what took us to the playoffs. It was
absolutely. 2016, our offense was trash.
We had the best defense in football the last 8 games that year.
Yep, definitely. We beat a very weak schedule by 7 points or less. And then when we played good teams, we got the hell beat out of us. The Steelers
I said that we would have won more games than we won now. Maybe an extra game or two.
We still wouldn't have been good.
And then you're still not getting. Then I mean, at that point, you're getting worse draft picks. I mean, how much better would the franchise have been long term had we not made it? And I hate talking about the trade. The trade is never going to go away. We would have not won any Super Bowls if Beckham was still here. No. The trade was understandable when they made it, at least from my point of view. I understand everybody's point of view.
Yeah. Kishore K, thank you. Really appreciate it. JJ is just blah, blah, blah. No real work. Yeah, JJ is a snake oil salesman. I'm of that advocate that he's selling snake oil. We have a few of those. Atlas Zero, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really Washington fan here. Do we beat the Falcons this weekend? HTTR. Yes, I think you do beat the Falcons.
I think it'll be close. It's in Atlanta. I'll give it to you slightly. Very close game.
I think they beat it. Yeah, it'll be close, but I think you beat them.
Yeah.
Happy Huntsman, thank you, brother. Really. Chiropractic should have been brought back.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, but it couldn't have hurt bringing him back. He was solid last year for the Giants, so couldn't have hurt.
Yep. I know Authentic is like in love with Odell Beckham. I know he is. He's in love with him. I get it. I understand he was an exciting player.
He's a great player.
But you can talk about this is, I am always saying statistics tell half the story, and statistics are for fantasy football. How many games what was our record with Odell Beckham with the New York Giants? It was not a winning record. We had one winning season his entire tenure here. And I'm not saying that we have anybody that can replace his production, but his production was what it was, and we still couldn't win. We couldn't win with him here. And when you're paying that particular guy $95 million, our offense would have been better. I mean, there's no question.
Here's what I'll say, Baddog. The same argument that people make for not signing Saquon Barkley, you can make, at least in my opinion, for not signing Odell Beckham or keeping him here on that contract. At that point, I think the Giants realized they were going to be in a rebuild. And they said to themselves, is it in our best interest to have a $95 million wide receiver? And I think it's the same argument you can make about Saquon Barkley. When they signed Beckham, they were still trying to win, which was a mistake. I'm not saying it was a mistake to sign him for all the Odell Beckham lovers, but it was a mistake to try to win. We all agree with that. They shouldn't have selected Saquon Barkley. Not all of us, but a lot of us agree with that. But I think at the next year they said, we're going to rebuild. We're going to knock this thing down, and we're going to try to get draft picks and start to rebuild this football team.
Right.
And it's the same argument you can make about signing Saquon Barkley. and as big of an emotional attachment as authentic as to Odell Beckham and several other people have in this chat to Odell Beckham, I have to Saquon Barkley. I love Saquon Barkley. And I'm going to tell you what, if the New York Giants decide to rebuild next year, I think they should get Saquon Barkley out of here. I think they should trade him because I don't think he matches the timeline of this football team.
All I can say is this. I said they should trade Odell Beckham 2 years before they traded him. Yeah. I said last year in a video, the Giants should listen to trade offers for Saquon Barkley. And it's not because I didn't think Odell Beckham was the most talented receiver this franchise has ever seen, or that I disliked Odell Beckham. I have an Odell Beckham jersey. I freaking loved Odell Beckham. I loved Odell Beckham. Stuck over Odell. I loved it. I loved it. Every game. All I kept saying is just throw the ball to Odell. Throw it to Odell. Just throw it. I wanted to see Odell Beckham run with the ball. I wanted to watch Odell Beckham. It's the only reason anybody went to the damn games. We suck so bad, but everybody wanted to watch Odell Beckham with good reason. And I loved him. And I love Barkley too.
I see AJ Marshall say, don't blame Odell. Nobody's blaming Odell Beckham.
I'm not blaming Odell Beckham. The team sucked.
The team sucks.
And nobody's blaming Odell Beckham. He wasn't going to make us a Super Bowl contender. You had to do something different. And I said this to Barkley last year because this team was bad last year. And it was bad the year before. And it was bad in 2018. So I'm sitting there saying, God, we've been bad for 3 years. We have probably the most talented physically running back there is. But what are we winning with Barkley? Can we win with him? No, we probably need more picks. We need other players because when your team sucks, and this is football, this is not basketball where one guy can take over the whole game. Right? There's no Michael Jordans here, right? There's no LeBron James here. There's no Kobe's. You can't do it with football. So one great player on a 53-man roster can't turn the entire thing around. But if you can get 3 or 4 players in place of them, and you hope that your GM knows what the hell he's doing, ours doesn't, unfortunately. But if you can get 3 good players, above average players to replace one really great player, you have a better chance of winning. That was my whole thing with Odell Beckham. Is if we could get more players that were better, were good in different positions that we needed, as opposed to just having him at wide receiver, we would have been better off.
And the draft capital we got was good. We just didn't hit on the picks.
Right.
But maybe people misinterpret what I said because Authentic says your point about the money doesn't count for the first 3 years while he was on a rookie deal. Giants failed him. It sounds like you're saying we didn't win because OBJ was here. That couldn't be further from the truth. We didn't lose games because OBJ was here. Some of the few games that we won was because of him.
Right.
What I'm saying is I think the New York Giants came to the realization we need to rebuild, and we cannot afford to pay a wide receiver while we're trying to rebuild and try to get as much draft capital as we possibly can. We're not going to win anyway. Having Odell Beckham, of course, is a business decision. He sells jerseys, but we're trying to knock this thing down from the bottom, and that's what they decided to do. And it's why I understand the decision. Yes, if Odell Beckham was here, do we win maybe a couple more games? Absolutely. But are we a playoff team? No. And did I understand the trade when they made it? Yes. And I know a lot of Giants fans will never understand it. But I think the Giants were trying to rebuild and get rid of a lot of the players on this team. It wasn't just him. They got rid of Janoris Jenkins. They got rid of Damon Snacks Harrison.
Yep.
They got rid of every high-paid player on this football team because they were trying to bring in a completely new regime, young players, and rebuild. And I'm going to tell you what, it's what they're going to do again if they bring in a new GM. All these players that you're in love with now, they're going to want their guys. They're going to say, we're doing a rebuild. We're going to get rid of all the high contracts. We're going to get draft capital, and we're going to try to build this team up from the bottom up. That's what's going to happen again if they do a rebuild again.
I agree. And you don't build around a running back, and you don't build around a wide receiver. You build around your quarterback, and you have to protect.
And I've seen a lot of people ask this too, because I keep getting the question, so I want to answer it. Then why sign Golladay? We signed Golladay because we were trying to win this year, because we were in the 3rd year of the rebuild, and obviously it has not worked out. But that was the reason why we signed him. When we first got traded Odell Beckham, it was the beginning of the rebuild. It was year 1 of the rebuild. This is now year 3 of the rebuild, and the New York Giants were trying to accelerate the process.
Yeah. Now I'll say this. For them to trade Odell Beckham and then sign Golden Tate was stupid.
That was the Golden Tate
that was stupid.
Golden Tate signing's horrible.
That was stupid. That I didn't understand. I understand why they needed to trade Beckham, but to go out and sign Golden Tate for $40 million, that made no sense. That was stupid. That was stupid. That I didn't understand.
Golden Tate move was horrible. It's one of Gettleman's worst moves.
Yeah, absolutely. That was dumb. That was really stupid. But again, I'm not, like I said, I loved watching Odell Beckham play. I was a big Odell Beckham fan. I'm still a big Odell Beckham fan. I never had any hate towards Odell Beckham, But I understand why they made the move they did. Because like Chris said, we were rebuilding. And you don't rebuild with a $95 million wide receiver, just like you don't build with a $45 million defensive tackle in Snacks Harrison or a $62 million cornerback in Janoris Jenkins. When you're bringing in a new quarterback, you're trying to rebuild the team. Now, is there part of me that wishes Daniel Jones could have thrown to Odell Beckham? Yeah, I would have liked to have seen how they would have done together. But it just wasn't meant to be. And I don't know. I don't think we would have been much better. We might have been a game or two, like Chris said, better with Odell, but he wasn't going to make the biggest. He can't play defense. Yeah. And if teams decided they were going to double team Odell and take him out of there, then Daniel Jones would have had to go someplace else. And it wasn't going to stop Daniel Jones from the fumbling problems that he had his rookie season or the fact that he doesn't really go through progressions very well. He may have made bigger plays for Daniel Jones, but at the end of the day, Daniel Jones is still going to be Daniel Jones. And the offensive line was still going to be the offensive line.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Knock Andrew, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, Billy. What up, Raider Nation here?
What's going on, Knock, man? Thanks for popping in, buddy.
Raising my hand. Knock Andrew. I said the Raiders are my sleeper this year.
Yes, you did. And what I will say, going back to the Galladay comment, if I had a time machine and knew the Giants were going to look the way that they do this year, I would not have signed Kenny Galladay.
Me neither.
It was
I would have rather just had Colin Johnson.
Yeah, it was a move that the New York Giants were clearly trying to have a competitive football team this year and try to compete to make the playoffs and give Daniel Jones that piece that he needed. But if you would have told me the Giants were going to get off to an 0-3 start and have the schedule they got coming up, I would have said no.
Hell no.
Let's not use that money on a wide receiver. But I do understand why they made the move.
This is the thing, guys, with the Galladay thing, okay? Remember so all the excuses we made for the Giants last year, right? New system, new coach, no preseason, not really a training camp, no script, no preseason games, no OTAs, nothing. The first 4 games are practice per se. Everybody had to get acclimated to everything that was going on. We started off 1-7. We finished 5-3. We beat Seattle in Seattle with Colt McCoy. The Giants are 1 catch away from making the playoffs. Not that we were a great team, but we were right there. If Evan Ingram catches the ball, we're in the playoffs. Probably get our ass kicked, but we make it. So I know Chris, at least Chris and I were much more optimistic going into the season. As a lot of Giants fans were, because of the way we finished, figuring, they got acclimated to the system. Daniel Jones was hurt. We still went 5-3. They got acclimated to the system. They're going to have a whole year. They're going to have a whole preseason to get ready for the season. So Daniel Jones doesn't have a number 1 receiver, and let's go out and get one. Let's go out and get the best wide receiver available for him. So they did. Isaac Yiadom wasn't really good. James Bradbury played like an all-pro last year. Our defense was really good. Let's go out and add a real corner to this defense and make the defense even better. Because we looked like we were turning the corner, at least they fooled me. I thought we turned the corner going 5-3 in the second half of the season and being very competitive all season and missing a couple of games here or there. You figured that with the experience that they would have won these close games. They still don't know how to. But that was why they made those moves, guys. We were in a very weak division, and you figure those 2 moves would have put us over the top. Yeah, that's why they paid the money for Galladay.
And it didn't. Yeah. It hasn't proven to be true, but I understood the thought process. It just hasn't worked out.
Yeah. Dave, thank you, brother. Really. I'm usually a positive fan, but last week broke me. This week I'm puckering my hole for DJ having a crap day, and I'm losing faith in him. I think Daniel Jones is going to have a good game.
I hope. I mean, the Saints have a really good defense.
I'm picking Daniel Jones to have a good game.
I hope so, man. At least 3 games in, the Saints have had one of the best defenses in football. So we'll see. So far, Jones has been pretty good. So hopefully you get a win.
Well, Money Entertainment says Adoree not worth $36 million. Well, he got 39, but he was worth it. You have to overpay for these guys. Like, you have to overpay for free agents, especially when they're coming to a bad team.
Yeah, you could say that when you're signing the best player at their position or one of the top 2 players, you could definitely argue maybe he was the second best. But when you're signing one of the premier players in the free agency class at their position, you're going to overpay. We overpaid for Kenny Galladay significantly.
We overpaid for Nate Solder.
When you sign a premier free agent, you're not bargain bin shopping, which is what we did with Galladay and Adoree Jackson. You're going to pay more than what the market dictates.
Yeah. Leonardo Gaming, thank you, brother. Brilly. One drop from Slayton, he means. One offside call from Dex. One missed interception by Jackson. This team is 2-1. Still a bad 2-1 team, but all this is a different conversation. You're right. We're 2 plays away from having a great. We're talking about the Giants being tied for first place.
Being a playoff contender.
It's amazing, but you know what? Bad teams find ways to lose.
You could say this every year.
Find ways to win. We are finding ways to lose. I've been watching the Giants for
the last 4 years. I've seen it.
I have seen some messed up things with the always against the Eagles, mind you.
Yeah.
Right. I saw a blocked field goal. Giants blocked a field goal. I watched somebody, I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Clyde Simmons, pick up the freaking block kick and run it in for a touchdown. We lost. I saw Kahima running into the end zone, punching the damn freaking whatever the hell that is, the field goal stanchion. I remember beating Philadelphia 10-7 with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of 97. They couldn't move the ball. We kick it to Brian Westbrook. He returns it for a freaking touchdown. We lose 14-10. Miracle in the Meadowlands too. Like everything I've seen always happens against Eagles. It seems that way. 5 downs against Carolina, 63-yard field goal to beat us by Graham Gano. I've seen a lot of crap. I have never seen a team lose a game on a missed field, not the Giants anyway, on a missed field goal, but one of you guys jumps off sides and they get to re-kick. We have lost every freaking way possible. Yeah. They don't know how to win.
And you could say that I remember my first year on YouTube in 2018. There was probably like 5 games that year where if one play went their way, they would have won the game. And they didn't. You know, you go back to the Colts game, should have won. You go to the Gano 63-yard field goal, should have won. And there was a penalty that went against them in that game. The Cowboys game should have won. The
Eagles game should have won.
But it's the same thing every year. And when you're saying that consistently, are there going to be certain instances where maybe the referees screw up the game? Yeah. But if it's year after year after year after year, no. There's a common denominator here. And the New York Giants, year after year after year, are not getting those if plays. It's not all bad luck. It's not all because of the referees. It's because this team doesn't know how to win football games.
Yep, I agree. By the way, we got 700 people in here because you guys and girls are absolute legends. Well, you know what to do, man. We only got 346 likes. So hit that thumbs up button. It helps out the stream. And make sure you hit that. Let's get 400 likes. Smack that subscribe button if you're new to this channel. More importantly, make sure you go into the description. The link to the Entertainment Talkin' Sports down there. Not like I said, I'm sure my mod's been dropping it throughout the chat. Make sure you subscribe. Then we'll be doing this show on his channel next week. And we'll be doing the Dallas Cowboys game over there next week. Of course, we'll have the Saints game on this channel this week. Both of us always do the games together. And one of these days, one of us is going to get a win. It'd be freaking nice if we could do it this week because I'm sick of losing. Zue, thank you, brother. Really. There's no way we can win games or evaluate DJ by dunking and dinging passes. We need a fresh mindset, starting with Mara down to the water boy. Blow it up. I agree with that. I think that the dink and dunking crap's got to stop.
I agree. Part of the problem I do think is they don't have faith in their offensive line to be able to hold blocks. You know, especially now with their 4th new guard. And I know the offensive line's not been horrid, but I don't think they have full faith in their offensive line. But you got to try. You got to try.
I'll say this. Now, I'm not giving Jason Garrett a pass, but I am saying Joe Judge is allowed to handle this. But I'm just thinking about that when he said dinking and dunking. Yeah. I used to call Dak Prescott dink and dunk Dak because when Jason was there, that's what he did. But once they got Kellen Moore there, he opened it up a little bit. So obviously, Jason Garrett does have a lot to do with this shit. And but you would think that Joe Judge would go to him and say, "Yo, open it up a little bit."
I think it's just as much Judge influence.
Oh, I know it is because
you could tell by the way he coaches in certain situations.
Exactly.
He's a conservative head coach.
Exactly. I was just going to say 4th and 3 from the 39 against Atlanta.
Yeah. He's trying to limit mistakes, but we're not a good enough team to play that way and win.
No, exactly. Brandon Prater, thank you, brother. Brilly. Hey, Baddog, go Cowboys. We got a lot of Cowboys fans in there. They got a lot of boys fans in there. He says, Jason Garrett's not your problem. Good luck. Thank you, sir. We'll need it. He might not be our problem for much longer, Brandon. I know how long his leash is here with New York, but, Mark Holmes will have a Bad Dog meltdown cam on Sunday. Well, Mark Holmes is going to be disappointed because I don't melt down on stream anymore. He definitely took my post-game rant. He can have that, but you won't see me. Well, no, I can't guarantee that. I don't know how the hell I'm going to act. But I understand. Listen, I don't blame Mark. Like if I was Mark Holmes, I would put me and Chris on his stream too. It makes it more interesting. Let's put it this way. Mark Holmes has a video coming next week. Oh, yeah. Oh, trust me. I'm getting him. Trust me. You like the Philly 500 video? You'll like this one. Goose, thank you, brother. Goose. Really, really. Sup, guys? Over Friday's better than mine. Got T-boned.
Oh, man.
Car's messed up, but I'm okay. Who that? That's right. Goose is a...
Yeah, we got you this week, Goose.
I'm glad you're okay, Goose.
Yeah, exactly. That's
sorry that happened, but that is the most important thing. Your car, you can get that replaced, but you can't replace Goose. Subscribe to Sports, by the way, if you haven't. Goose is my first ever member on this channel. And he does all the, not all of them, but he does a lot of Yankee games. He does the Pelicans. He does the Saints. He does LSU. He works very hard on that channel. He's a great guy, too. So make sure you guys subscribe to our guy, Goose. Goose. And I always thought it was for Goose Gossage, but I guess it's for Goose from Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Zig, thank you, brother. Really. Galladay versus Odell. Let's see who has a better season.
Probably Odell. Well, I don't know. I haven't gotten to see him. I know he's coming off the injury, so we'll see what he looks like. But I think a healthy Odell is better than Galladay. A healthy one.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because Galladay's not an explosive guy like Odell.
Yeah.
He's not.
He's not that he's as good as him, but he's like Burrs. He's that type of receiver.
Yep. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Des, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really. What player on our team do teams strategy against? Who puts fear in our opponents? Barkley.
If he's healthy.
Barkley.
That's about it. Yeah. If he's healthy.
I mean, they seem like they make a conservative effort every week to shut down Barkley.
I think that's a big reason why Jones is able to break off those big runs that he did against Washington, because they were fixated on Barkley.
Steven Braccio-Forte, thank you so much for the $5. Boom! Appreciate that, man. Thank you, brother. I love this name because Wu-Tang forever, sir. The RZA, the Jizza, Ghostface Killing, the old dirty bastard. Thank you so much, brother. Really. I know, looks can be deceiving. Who the hell would ever look at me and go, that guy knows what the RZA, the Jizza, GFK is Ghostface Killing, ODB's old dirty bastard. I get it, but I love Wu-Tang Clan. They're my favorite of all time, so I love the name. People acting like Jones's fumbling problem is fixed. He just fumbled twice against the Falcons. He recovered them, but he still has a fumbling problem.
Yeah, one was on a snap. But no, I still think he has a fumbling problem. I don't think it's nearly as bad as it once was. But yeah, sure, he still definitely fumbles the football.
Yes, yeah. It's not completely. Listen, Daniel Jones is played better, but he's not completely fixed. He still needs to work on a lot of things. VT Jake, thank you, brother. Really. I'm done hearing the NFC East is a bad division because Dallas is looking very good, and I don't see them letting down in the next 3, 4, 5 years. I was talking about last year, Jake. I do think Dallas is better this year, but a
lot of that had to do with that Dak got hurt last year.
Right, that's true.
Yeah,
but their defense was awful last year.
Their defense, especially the first 5 or 6 games, it was like record-breaking bad. But yeah, Dallas is definitely a good team. They're definitely a top 4 or 5 team in the NFC. No denying that.
Yep. Olivia, thank you so much, my lady. Really. LA Rams versus LA Chargers in LA is my Super Bowl prediction. I think the Rams are the best team in football right now.
I agree with that.
There, but the Rams are really good.
I had the Rams going to the Super Bowl before the year started, so I will agree with the Rams pick. I will not agree with the Chargers pick.
I'm happy for Matt. I'm happy for Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford deserves that. Matt Stafford
is a great situation.
So underrated, and you're finally on a good team, and you see what's going on. The Rams are really, really good.
Yeah,
the Chargers are getting better. They're not there yet, but
people with Matt Stafford early on in his career, people point to Calvin Johnson, and Calvin Johnson was the best wide receiver, probably outside of Jerry Rice, that I've ever seen. Like when he was at his best, the guy going for almost 2,000 yards one year, and inexplicably only had 5 touchdowns, I think, in that season, which is one of the most insane stat lines I've ever seen. I think Stafford threw for almost 5,000 yards and only had like 21 touchdown passes that year. But the one thing I'll say about Stafford is he never had a defense and he never had a ground game. You go back, look at those Lions teams, they were always dead last in running. And it's why Stafford had to throw as much as he did. You put him now with the Rams, with McVay and the defense they got over there, man, he is set up for success.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. I mean, again, it just goes to show you how much better Stafford was always good, but look at how good he is with the Rams. And Daniel Jones will be a lot better with the Rams than he is with the Giants.
Of course.
You know,
Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl.
Right. And it was a terrible Super Bowl, mind you.
It was a terrible
We
Super
did
Bowl.
that Super Bowl together.
But he had a great year that year with McVay.
It was so bad that I had to sing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in a Pakistani accent. That's how bad that was. That was bad. Jonathan says Tainah misspelled Randy Moss.
Randy Moss is a better receiver for sure. He's probably one of I would put Moss and Larry Fitzgerald actually for careers are well above him in terms of guys and Terrell Owens for guys that I've seen. But Calvin Johnson at his best, he's right there. I mean, Calvin Johnson at his best was ridiculous. He just didn't do it for as long because he retired early.
Randy Moss was the most talented receiver ever. If Randy Moss worked as hard as Jerry Rice did, Randy Moss would have set every passing record known to man. Randy Moss, I still haven't seen, but I'll tell you how highly I thought of Odell Beckham. I said that Odell Beckham was a smaller version of Randy Moss because that is what Odell Beckham reminded me of when he was early on in his career. Because Randy Moss could do that stuff. He could run past you. He made just ridiculous catches, and he could take a 7-yard slant to the house. That was Randy Moss just in a 6'4" frame. Odell Beckham had that same type of skill set. Now, Odell Beckham dealt with a lot of injuries. Randy Moss, not so much. Not like Beckham. Beckham had some serious injuries. Beckham needed surgery and a number of things. I loved Randy Moss.
Randy Moss was insane. The guy, what do you have? Like 23 touchdowns with the Patriots that year?
Yeah.
Obviously, he was ridiculous with the Vikings too. And the only reason he dropped in the draft was because of I think marijuana or something like that.
Yeah. Oh no, it was like a rape charge or something that didn't hold up. It was something outside. Yeah, that's why he actually ended up going to Marshall. I think because I forgot what happened exactly. I saw the thing. What the hell was a 30 for 30 on Randy Moss? I've seen it, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know that Warren Sapp, I think, dropped because of marijuana in the draft because of marijuana charges.
They all do. Laramie Tunsil did too.
Yeah.
How come some of our players couldn't have smoked the old ganj? How come some of our players didn't hit 420?
We wouldn't draft them. We didn't draft.
I'm saying, why couldn't some of our players do it so we didn't draft them? You know what I mean? Why the hell couldn't DeAndre Baker be part of that or whatever? Yeah,
Evan Ingram.
Why couldn't Evan Ingram do it? Eric Flowers. That would have been really good if he did it.
Yeah.
NFL experts, thank you, brother. Brilly. Every time the Giants lose, my whole weekend is ruined. And I just want to point out that Giants fans are smart because NFL experts spelled the word lose correctly. He didn't put loose. You know how you're going to lose. You're going to lose on Sunday, Giants fans. You're going to lose. The Eagles are going to beat you. You're going to lose. But you see NFL experts, a Giants fan, they spelled lose correctly.
Good job.
Let's hope your weekend's not ruined this weekend. Let's hope all of us have a really good weekend this year.
Be nice.
Except for Saints fans. Let's hope they have a bad weekend. No offense to Saints fans, but God, we need to win here, please. I'm telling you, Chris, I'm bringing Jesus over here.
It's worth a shot.
I'm bringing him over here.
It's worth a shot.
Jesus is in the corner. He has to be by our side Sunday.
I'm
We're playing the Saints. It makes sense, Chris. We're playing the Saints. We need Jesus.
I'm going to go back to the hoodie this week. I'm going to try to spark something.
Jesus against this. But think about it. The Saints. Saints, isn't that religious? Bring Jesus here.
It's worth a shot.
Might help the Saints, but what the hell's it? We got nothing to lose. Holy Milk Dud Batman. Thank you so much. Brilly. Greatest villain ever is the Joker. Yeah, got him right there.
For sure.
He says, we heard we might try trading the Bears pick this year, first round next year for Jones and Watson.
I don't know where you heard that. That would not get the job done. I don't think. I don't think that would get the job done. I don't see the New York Giants trading for Deshaun Watson.
Well, whenever I was talking to Fisk, and when he said we should trade for people talk about trading for Aaron Rodgers, I said I'd much rather trade for Deshaun Watson.
He's younger.
Because Deshaun Watson's at the beginning of his career, and I don't care what the hell he's got going off the field. That he can play. I mean,
we also don't have cap space to bring him in. Where's our cap space to bring in Deshaun Watson?
We don't have cap space for that.
Yeah, it's not happening.
We don't have cap. No, he's not going anywhere.
He's not going to the Giants, I'll tell you that.
He'll end up in he's not going to any play in this division. I can tell you that. I don't know. He probably end up going to Green Bay, watch.
And we talk about teams that he has a no trade clause. Why in the world would he ever want to come to the Giants if we're being honest with ourselves?
He wouldn't. Why? Because he wants to run some laps. He wants to get in shape. Anthony Raza says, can Homer Jones come out of retirement? Yeah, Homer Jones. For the Giants fans that lived through the terrible 70s, that was like their best player. Homer Jones. We stink. Mike Moran, thank you, brother. The best one is when they say you're an idiot. That one's always my favorite. But it's even better when they say you're a idiot. But the irony of "you're an idiot" spelled like that is hilarious to me. It makes me laugh.
They don't put the RE with the apostrophe.
Yeah, because they're calling you an idiot, but they don't know the proper use of the word "your," which you're supposed to use. And I'm like, that's a third grade word. So how do you not know that? How can you call someone an idiot when you can't spell the word "your" correctly? Y-O-U apostrophe R-E as in you are, but they put that there, and it's like, come on. I mean,
yeah, you get those all the time. Most of the time when somebody calls you an idiot or stupid or whatever, they misspell something because they're stupid themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It is what it is.
And I agree with you, Cyprian Alvarez, by the way. I think his reputation is shot, and I just don't see the Giants going out to try to get him.
They're not going to get Deshaun Watson.
No.
That'd be a hell of a story if they did. Yamaka Sam says Jones will go to Pittsburgh and win a Super Bowl. Imagine Jones and Dwayne Haskins on the same team. It'd be pretty funny.
I could see a couple of destinations, and I don't want to talk about this, but if we do move on from Jones and the team does look at him as a potential starter, I think Pittsburgh could make sense. I think the Colts could make sense if they move on from Wentz. I don't know what his salary situation is, and I definitely think the Broncos could make sense with Pat Shermer. So the
Broncos definitely would make sense because Bridgewater's a stopgap there, and they obviously don't believe in Drew Lock.
Yeah, and obviously Shermer does believe in Daniel Jones, so.
Right.
Those are some spots that I could see.
Did anyone see the Kurt Warner video on the Giants? He should be the offensive coordinator.
I did. Yes, I did.
Maybe a quarterback's coach. Here we go. Kurt Warner is better than Eli.
Here's what I'll say. Kurt Warner at his best
had better years than Eli.
Was better than Eli at his best. He played 2 or 3 incredible years. Now, if we're being fair, look at the team he had around him. Mm-hmm. Eli Manning has played with one Hall of Famer his entire career, and that's Michael Strand. He didn't even have it on the offensive side of the ball. Kurt Warner had Isaac Bruce, who's going to be, if he's not a Hall of Famer, he's going to be. Played with Marshall Faulk, and he played with Torrey Holt. All 3 of those guys probably one day will be in Canton. Played with all 3 of those guys.
Marshall Faulk's one of the greatest running backs ever.
Marshall Faulk's one of the top 5 or 6 running backs of all time. He played in the Dome, and he played in a revolutionary offense that no team had ever seen before in terms of the scheme, the greatest show on turf. So Warner was put in as good of a spot as you could have ever dreamt about. And what people forget about with Kurt Warner is outside of those 2 or 3 years, he was a journeyman quarterback outside of 1 year with Arizona, where they went on that, where they wouldn't have even went on that playoff run. That Plaxico Burress not shot himself.
That's right.
But where they went on that playoff run. But Kurt Warner had 3 incredible years, or 2 or 3 incredible years for a career. I'm still taking Eli Manning.
Yeah, and as great as that team was, he won 1 Super Bowl. Eli won 2. I mean, what else you need to know? Larry J, thank you, brother. You're all losers. We are winners. Eagle fans. Facts.
Yep.
Facts.
And there you go. Sports Talk. You're right. In his year with Arizona, he had Fitzgerald and Bolden, another 2 Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Eli Manning never played with 1 Hall of Famer on offense. Somebody said Tiki, fair.
Tiki should be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Beckham was at the end of his career. So I there's no doubt about it. Warner had a much better surrounding cast when he was at his best.
Yeah. Tozy, thank you, brother. Brilly. Could have had Lamar back in 2018. Haunts me still. The Giants weren't going to take Lamar Jackson, though. And they weren't going to take Josh Allen.
I laugh at that, Baddog, because every team in the league passed on him.
Yeah, he didn't go to, 28th, 30th?
Yeah, I think it was the last pick in the first round, and it was only because the Ravens traded up to get him. And whatever it was, the Ravens traded up from the second round to grab him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, then Josh Allen was there. The Giants were interested in Sam Darnold.
Or Rosen.
And I didn't want either one of them.
And by the way, that's what every expert said. Everybody thought that those were the 2 best quarterbacks in that draft.
Yeah, there was talk of Josh Rosen going first overall. The only quarterback I wanted in the draft was Baker Mayfield. That was it. I wanted Baker Mayfield. And then extra, I wanted Kyler Murray. I wanted my Sooners. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I even made a video before the 2019 draft saying the Giants need to try to trade up and get Kyler Murray. I'm just, like I said, and again, sometimes I'm right about the quarterback, sometimes I'm not. But more often than not, well, I shouldn't say that. When it came to Oklahoma quarterbacks, I know what the hell I'm talking about. Baker Mayfield is going to be a very good quarterback. He's not Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's special. And Jalen Hurts can do certain things, but if you watch him against the Cowboys, and this is why statistics are freaking skewed. If you watched him play, he was terrible in that game. He's terrible. He underthrew a receiver by 5 yards, which he has no touch in the deep pass at all. He couldn't read the quarterback that jumped, or the corner that jumped the route for the pick six. He was playing terrible. Then the game was way out of control, and he ends up with 326 yards and 2 touchdowns. So people are going to be like, oh, look at the stats. Daniel Jones can't throw for 300 yards, Chris, but look at he threw for 1. Man. That's why I hate statistics. Just watch the game, and you'll know how good or bad a quarterback is.
Yeah.
They can be misleading.
He was not good in that game. He was horrible.
Bad, but look at his end numbers, and he looks like he was pretty good.
Yeah, numbers don't tell the whole story.
That's always been my argument about the damn statistics. Unless you're talking about a guy getting into the Hall of Fame, where his numbers do matter at that point, numbers don't always win games. I say it all the time. I'd much rather Daniel Jones throw 150 yards, throw 20 incompletions, 3 interceptions, and we win, as opposed to him having a great game like he did against Washington, and we lose.
Yeah, of course.
I want to win. I'm not a player guy. That's why I don't like fantasy football. This is why I have no problem letting go of Odell Beckham, or I'd have no problem letting go of Saquon Barkley. I love those guys. I would miss them. I missed Odell Beckham, but I'm a Giants fan. I am not a player fan. Whatever helps the team win, and obviously the Odell Beckham thing did not, because we still suck. But whatever they feel is the betterment for the team, I'm on board with, because I want to win. And whether that's with Odell, without him, whether that's with Daniel Jones, without him, whether that's with Saquon Barkley, without him, the players don't hurt me when they leave. If they retire, like Eli retiring, that hurts because his time was up. Strahan, as much as he was a dickbag at training camp, I love watching him play. When he retired, it hurt me. When Justin Tuck, when he left, it's not because
the Raiders, right?
Trying to trade him, but it was at the end of his career. He left. That hurt me, because those guys mean a lot to me. That's a different story than a guy in a bad team that's really good and they just let him go.
Yeah. Understandable.
I don't know. Zuabe, thank you, brother. Really, DJ is a great deep ball. Okay. We see it like once a game. Facts. I think Kurt's a borderline Hall of Famer. Terrell Davis to Broncos running back.
Well, they're both in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think he's saying they're borderline Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I think if Warner's in the Hall of Fame, Eli absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame.
Eli's in the Hall of Fame.
The
without
discussion
a doubt.
ends right there. But Terrell Davis was incredible. The only issue you have there is he very short lived because of the migraines. But he was incredible. He was the bit. You thought there's only been a handful of teams where I think, obviously Emmitt Smith, but I think that was more the offensive line with Dallas, because that offensive line was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. There's only been a handful of teams where I thought the running back was the best player on the offense and they won Super Bowls. That was one of them. Obviously John Elway's the guy that people talk about, but at that point he was approaching 40. Terrell Davis was the best player in that offense. Marshawn Lynch, I think, is another. Obviously a lot of people say Russell Wilson, but he was in the second year of his career. I thought that offense Marshawn Lynch was the guy.
Marshall Faulk.
I thought Marshall Faulk was the best player in that Rams team.
Yep, I agree. You're hard pressed to find a team that wins a Super Bowl with the best player being the running back. Usually it's the quarterback.
Yeah.
But if the Giants had won with Tiki there, Tiki would have been the best player on the team. Tiki was the best player on the team.
Yeah, it would have been for sure. Offense.
That's the thing. I think if Tiki wins this, I think if Tiki holds on for one more year and they win the Super Bowl, he's a Hall of Famer. Because Terrell Davis and Tiki have similar numbers, but Davis won a Super Bowl MVP and he won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. Bettis is a good one too, by the way. I forgot, with Ben in his second year.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Holy Milk Dud Batman. Thank you, brother. Brilly. You think the Giants will replace Dave Gettleman with Jeff Ireland from the Saints? I really don't know.
I have no idea who they're going to bring in terms of the GM. I have no idea. There's no point in asking names right now. There's so many possibilities. Once, it's kind of like asking who the coach is going to be if they move on from Judge. Once they name the guys that they're bringing in for interviews, I'll do my research and I'll look into them. But I'll tell you this, Holy, if they're looking at a team in terms of their general philosophy, that would be a team I would be interested in bringing in a guy that is maybe looking for a GM position, because I love the way that the New Orleans Saints build football teams, because I'm a big offensive line guy. The Saints draft an offensive lineman in the first round every other year. They're a team that believes in drafting early offensive linemen more so than any other team in football. So if they're going to bring in a guy from a team, the Saints are a team that I would like them to bring a guy in from. The Colts being another. That's another team that built around the offensive line. I guess I would be interested in teams like that.
Yeah. Gary says we could beat the Cowboys. It's the only game Garrett gets creative. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. I really don't know. I at this point, man, Gary, I don't know who the hell we're going to beat. I really don't. I don't have a clue. Jim says Sam Darnold's success more about system or being a good quarterback. It's more about the system. He's not a good quarterback. He's not.
I think he is a good quarterback. We've always disagreed on this, but
his numbers aren't even good. He played terrible against Houston. He's
got like 900 yards passing, doesn't he, in 3 games or something like that?
Yeah, but he played terrible against Houston.
I don't think he's when I say good, that doesn't mean I think he's like a top 10. I think he's a good enough quarterback to win. I think he's at least an average quarterback. But I think, we talk about how bad of a situation Daniel Jones is in. Sam Darnold's situation was even worse. I mean, my God, that you want to talk about an organization that completely set him up to fail. Adam Gase was a complete clown show. The offensive line there was a joke. They had no wide receivers. And Darnold actually had a winning record. People forget about that his second year with the Jets, with that horrible team. He was 7-6, missed 3 games due to mono. So I actually always thought that Darnold was a good enough quarterback to win on a good team.
I always love when people say this. This one makes me laugh. Why do you hate Sam Darnold? Like Authentic says to me, when I put on Twitter, I said, it sucks that Jalen Hurts is on the Eagles because it's hard not to like him, especially for me being a Sooner fan. It's hard for me to root against Jalen Hurts. And he said, why? I thought you hate him. And I'm like, I've never said I hate Jalen Hurts. He's like, but you say he sucks. Because I don't think a quarterback is good does not mean I hate them. I just don't believe they're good. And as I said to Authentic, I love the Giants. They suck. I don't hate the Giants. They're freaking terrible.
Yeah.
So just because I don't think a player is good don't mean I dislike them. I tell you, I have no reason to dislike Sam Darnold at all. I just don't think he's a good quarterback. Never thought he was a good quarterback. Don't like USC quarterbacks whatsoever. I don't like them. I don't think they're good. I don't like Ohio State quarterbacks. I don't like Florida quarterbacks. There are certain schools that I will not touch a quarterback from because I just don't think that I don't think the system in college translates to the NFL. So Darnold was a turnover machine at USC as well. So I've just never liked, I don't hate him. I just don't think he's good. And
fair.
Fair. Tozy, thank you, brother. Brilly. Organization is a cesspool of nepotism. Facts. Why is Chris Mara the senior VP of player personnel? Boggles my mind. We're so screwed beyond belief.
Nobody with the last name Mara should have any affiliation to the front office of this football team.
Agreed.
Because you know that John's gonna have too much. He's gonna be too loyal to him.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. Mike Moran, thank you, brother. Brilly. I mean, it's a play, but I think I just answered that. Why I don't.
Yeah, I mean, my
again, I don't hate him I just don't think he's good, but that's why.
My personal take on Darnold, and I agree, and I didn't want him with the Giants. I liked him as a quarterback. I thought he was a good quarterback. I didn't think he was as good as people were making him out to be in the draft when people were saying he was the next Andrew Luck. I didn't think he was that level, but I do think he's a talented quarterback. I love his mobility. I think his mobility is actually very underrated. You saw it in the Carolina game. He definitely has better wheels than people give him credit for. And I actually, the turnovers didn't scare me with him because I like a gunslinger. And so in college, I'm talking about. So I was always a believer in Darnold if he got a good, same thing I am with Jones. I think if Jones was put in a good situation, I think he can win too. And I think you're seeing that with Darnold. By no means am I saying, do I think I would put Darnold comparable to Baker Mayfield? I would. I think if Darnold was on the Browns, he could win just as many football games as Baker Mayfield.
I don't think he's as good as Baker Mayfield. I never thought that. I just don't. I don't think he's mobile. I mean, every quarterback's mobile. That's part of the game nowadays.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I think he's just as talented as Baker Mayfield. It's just that I think
Baker's better. Than
perfect situation, and Darnold was put in a crappy situation.
Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see what we shall see. But obviously, the system helps Sam Darnold out a little bit more. Again, I don't see Sam Darnold lighting it up with deep passes. I see a lot of check down shit. So if that makes you a good quarterback, I mean, I think that's part of it. I think that he has a lot of safe passes in Carolina. He didn't have that with the Jets.
Yeah.
So that's the system, though, as opposed to being a good quarterback. When Jalen Hurts had the big game against Atlanta, what'd they do? Short, safe, check down passes. Jalen Hurts can do that. He's not going to beat you deep. He does not have the skill set to do it. Doesn't make you a good quarterback, but if you have the right system, and that's why Sirianni's been screwing up. He's a terrible coach. Philly 500 is like, Sirianni's a guy. No, he's not. Sirianni's an idiot. Sirianni's worse than our head coach. He don't know what the hell he's doing. Really, he's really got no idea. Our head coach just talks. Sirianni can't even talk. At least we have a guy that can shoot the shit. Yeah, he just stuck. He can't do anything right. Joe Judge can at least say the right things. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Oh, God. I got to make fun of the Eagles, make myself feel better about how lousy our team is. And I still can't even. They lost the other night. Was I live? When was I live? One of the nights I was live. I don't know. And they said, I think it was Monday. And they said, are you going to say something about Hurts? And I said, no, not because we suck. I got nothing to say.
There's no, you can't shit talk other teams when you're 0-3.
Nothing to say. Nothing. Yeah. I can always shit talk the Eagles, but I'm shit talking.
It doesn't carry much.
I'm not even shit talking the Eagles. I'm shit talking Sirianni and saying he had it right the first game, and then he's trying to get too damn cute. You see what works. You see what he can do. Why that? He is. Maybe Sirianni came from the Giants.
In fairness, though,
checkdowns worked against Atlanta. Let's not do that again.
In fairness, though, it was Atlanta. It's like the worst defense in football.
We scored 14
because we had self-inflicted mistakes. The fumble on the 20, the offensive line. Our offense is not good, but the Atlanta defense is horrible.
It is, but we scored 14.
Our offense sucked.
That works with Jalen Hurts. Let him run the ball. Let him make those safe passes. Don't ask him to throw the ball deep. He can't do that.
Yeah.
You Abe, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, really, brother. Yo, Chris, I'm a big man guy. I'm going to turn the New York Giants franchise around for you, my guy. Nah, seriously, though. You guys play Madden? By the way, I just got home. You got to love this weather. I do not play Madden. I haven't played Madden since 2012.
Yeah, I haven't played Madden in a while myself. I'm not a big Madden player, but I see a lot of people do those rebuild videos. If it was me, I would always draft offensive linemen as much as I possibly could. You know that, Zuhaib. So good luck rebuilding that franchise, man.
That's the only way we can rebuild it. Maybe I ought to start playing Madden because maybe I can make the Giants win. Steve, thank you, brother. Brilly. He says, Joe fleeced me like a slick lawyer. I do think we beat the Saints, though.
Steve, I'm with you, man. I even watched his press conference this week against the Saints. And it was the press conference where he had the quote where everybody was, where he said the analytics thing where he was talking about he brought up Bill Gates and Excel and was kind of taken out of context. He didn't say anything that egregious towards against analytics. But I watched the press conference, man, and he still is, even though they're up to an 0-3 start, while I'm watching it, I almost forgot how bad of a job he's done this year because he is such a good speaker, and he does come across as so intelligent and prepared in his press conferences and the things that he has to say. So I was sold like everybody else, but I'm not giving up on him yet, but he's got to get much better. He's got to get
I'm not giving up on him, but he's certainly getting the wrath of my anger because I believe he's a big part of it.
I think a lot of this has to do with everybody built him up to be this god. Like he was the next Belichick. And when things start to go south year two, when you have expectations, I think he's getting absolutely destroyed because of it.
And he should.
Yeah,
he should get destroyed. This is the second year in a row we're 0-3.
No, he should.
No excuses. No excuses. Rizza Jizza, thank you, brother. Really. Giants need a young offensive-minded head coach. We need something. Well, Joe Judge is young, but
but he's not offensive minded. I think he's not offensive minded. If we do decide to move on from Judge, and we'll see, I don't even want to talk about this because I hope, that, I don't want that to happen because that means, we're going through 3 coaches in 5 or 6 years. And it means we had another horrible season. But if we decide to do that, I'm in agreement with him actually. Which guy I don't know, but that's the preference that I'd have. I'd want a young, offensively driven head coach. I'm in agreement with him.
Yeah. We need offense. It's an offensive league now. Pundam says they're old. They don't play video games. There are definitely guys my age that play video games.
There's plenty
without a doubt. This is the thing. I work 9 hours a day. I have a 4-year-old son. I go to the gym to try to stay in shape. And then when I have free time, I'm either streaming on YouTube or I'm hanging out with my child. So yeah, I just don't have time to play video games. I used to. I mean, like I said, 2012, 36. Yeah, I was 36. I mean, I was Chris's age the last time I played video games. So it's, 36 isn't a young man anymore. I just don't have time to do it. If I wasn't on YouTube and I didn't go to the gym, I probably would play Madden, but it's not because I don't like it. It's just, my priorities are different now, I guess. The best way to put that. Different priorities, Corey, thank you, brother. Brilly. He says, KT reminds me of Stevie Johnson of the Bills. I don't know who he reminds me of because we haven't seen enough of him.
I remember Stevie Johnson briefly with the Bills. Another receiver I remember with the Bills was Eric Moulds.
Eric Moulds.
Yeah. We haven't seen enough of him. But in terms of his play style, I'm not saying he's just good, but I've always said Percy Harvin, and that's a frequent comparison people say because he went to Florida. But we haven't really seen him utilized in that way so far. I think we need to. I
don't think he's as good as Percy Harvin, but the guy that I think you could compare him to, again, we got to see more of him, but the guy we just played, Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, that's another one.
I think that he's not as big as Cordero Patterson, but I do believe that that's what
you could use him in that variety.
If Kadarius Toney was anywhere close to Percy Harvin, he was a steal at 20. Percy Harvin was electric, but he had the migraine problem. But he was electric. He was amazing. Janice, Alabama Janice. Thank you, my lady. Really. She says, thanks for all you both staying up late to talk Giants. I stuck up on Alabama Slammers for Sunday's Giants game. I would like to be drunk if they win or lose. Well, Alabama Slammers will get you drunk. But I have a feeling, Janice, if they're losing, you'll get drunk quicker because the Giants do drive their fan base to drink.
It's true.
Eric Moulds. Me and my buddy.
I never have a beer on this show, but I can't talk about this team right now without having a beer.
I just went back to the Diet Coke, but me and my friend used to always say, Eric molds on me bagel. Mold on my bagel.
He was a really good receiver there. He was a really good receiver there for a couple of years. I think he was on that Bills team that lost to Tennessee in the Music City Miracle.
Right.
When Frank Wycheck threw it across the field to Derek Mason.
Still a forward lateral, by the way.
You think it was a forward lateral?
Yeah, I do.
It was close.
Forward lateral.
Yeah, it was close.
Jack says, Baddog, you don't give it a talent. Gettleman couldn't find talent if it hit him in the face with a cookie. Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. I mean, you're right. He hasn't found it yet. He certainly hasn't found a talent the caliber of Odell. I mean, Barkley is very talented. That just hasn't worked. There's no denying. We saw Barkley's talent year one. You saw it. But then he's dealt with injuries. And again, and I know I've mentioned this a number of times, but Eli Manning had a lot to do with the success of Saquon Barkley because Eli could change the blocking schemes. Eli Manning could set it up for Barkley to find those holes or to go away from where the defense is going. I don't think Daniel Jones does that yet. I don't think Daniel Jones is putting Saquon Barkley in optimal situations to have big gains like Eli did. And again, Odell Beckham did have something to do with that, let's face it, because that was a threat on the outside. You couldn't just stack the box because if he did that, Odell Beckham's running wild. So that definitely had a part in it too.
Yeah,
but Beckham was hurt the last 4 games. Barkley ran crazy. So
fairness to Jones, Eli Manning was a 16-year vet, right?
Yeah, so I'm not saying.
Yeah. And that's what most young quarterbacks, like I'm watching that game on Thursday night, Joe Burrow, I don't know if you watched it. There was a play where they were on the goal line. He had a wide receiver. Nobody was on him. The defense completely missed the play and he was wide open and Burrow didn't even look his way. So, as you progress as a quarterback, you're going to have a better understanding of the defense you're going up against.
I completely agree, and that's not a knock on Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
That's more talking about how. I mean, didn't
things like that you take for granted as a fan,
right?
When you have a quarterback, as long as you have it, because people were just like, "Oh, get Eli Manning out of there; it's going to be an instant upgrade." No, that's not the way it works. Was it Nix and Cruz? Who were the receivers talking about how Manningham?
Okay, they were talking about how great he was at all that, putting everybody in the best situation. And that is, like you said, that comes with experience. It's not a knock on Jones, but it's definitely a fact that Barkley is better because of Eli Manning's ability to read a defense 16 years into the league.
Yeah.
Pimp, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Brilly. On Tony's scouting report, it says he's a guy who will start by year 2, and year 1 will be mostly special teams. That's why people question the pick. The should question pick. You don't draft a project on 20 when you've won 20 games in the last 4 years. That was my contention with the pick.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've come out and said on draft night I love the trade down. I love the value that we got. But you know, when I had time to think about it, I said to myself, I don't think I would have made that trade because the Giants tried to do two things at once, and I don't like that. When you were as aggressive as we were in free agency, I think you should have tried to draft the most immediate impact player on your football team this year. I didn't like the fact that they tried to do two things at once.
Yeah. Randy Stites says Barkley pulls a hammy getting out of bed. Jarvis Juice says, yes, Burrow is better than Lawrence. Burrow's been in the league.
I mean, right now he probably is, yeah.
He's got a better team than Trevor Lawrence. Everybody's so quick to jump on Trevor Lawrence. He's a bust.
Listen, man, I watched that game
give him
last night.
A chance, please. I guess Zach Wilson's a bust, too.
The physical skill set, ew, it's there.
Justin Fields is a bust. 6 for 20, 68 yards. Terrible. Yeah. 6 for 20, 68 yards. Bust. Zach Wilson threw 3 interceptions. Bust. They're all busts.
Well, that's the way the NFL works nowadays. But if you watch
Lawrence
Trevor
is going to be very good.
There's no way you left that game thinking that this guy's not going to be a great quarterback.
Trevor Lawrence is going to be very good.
He's got zip on his throw. He's super mobile.
He's
got the talent. He's got the talent.
He's very good. Jacksonville is probably worse than we are. If there's a team worse in the league than us, we might be able to beat them. Zig, thank you, brother. Brilliant, my man. He says Kadarius Toney should at least spell Ayuk or Samuel. Brandon Ayuk was a guy we kept. He sucks. Do anything over there.
I think Deebo Samuel's a pretty good comparison. I could see that. He's a guy that they kind of use a little bit in the running game. I could see that.
I would like him to be as good as Deebo Samuel. I don't know what the hell happened to Brandon Ayuk. He had a really good rookie season. They are not. Something happened over there. They don't use him at all. Joe Vigiani, thank you, brother. Really, I'm going to the Giants and Rams game in a few weeks. Never been to MetLife before. Is the stadium nice?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy the game. I hope you have an absolute blast. I'm not the biggest fan of the stadium.
The stadium is the old dump. That was the Meadowlands. I think was a better atmosphere.
Yeah.
I don't know many Giants fans that are actually like really big fans of MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's ugly, but it's not.
There's nothing special about it.
Yeah,
put it that way. Happy Huntsman, thank you, brother. Brilly, my man. Judge finessed ownership, Galladay, and our fan base and produced no results. He should run for president. Judge, yeah, he should. He's a good talker, man. But the problem is, like, he might be able to get away with that in other cities. New Yorkers don't buy that. New Yorkers, we're all full of shit, so we can always spot somebody that's full of shit. We're very good at that.
Yeah.
And we're spotting that real quick. Last year he had nothing to lose. He took over a bad spot and he had no training camp, and he could always just go back and say, hey, he had no time with his players.
There was no pressure last year.
Now there is.
Yeah. As there shouldn't have been much pressure last year.
So like you said, Chris, now the expectations are high. Now he's feeling the heat.
Yeah.
From everybody.
Yeah. And that's what comes with New York.
Pimp, thank you, brother. Really appreciate you. He says, also sick of the Joneses and the prom crowd. It's year 3. Where's the big leap? I've seen game manager this year, not a franchise quarterback. Sorry, folks.
Fair.
It's fair.
I don't think he's got much of a team to get the most out of him, but the problem is if it's kind of like Eli Manning, where it never really fit the timeline. Is it going to fit the timeline with Jones, where we're going to be able to get him a team before we have to extend him, where we could find out if he's a franchise quarterback? And that's the big issue.
Roldy, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really getting a new offensive coordinator is going to change what's been major issues of this organization. The need to hire a young GM was a great vision of modern day football. Facts.
Of course.
He needs to hire new scouts.
Yeah. Facts. That's the biggest problem right now with this team. They need to completely blow everything up if things continue to go down the path they're going. Facts.
Miss Trunchbull, thank you, brother. Really, or thank you, ma'am. I don't know who that is. Is that a movie character?
Maybe. I don't
like
recognize
a movie character.
Yeah, maybe.
People say no good quarterbacks in this draft. I say hire an outside GM and let them do that analysis. From what I've heard, there are 2 high ceiling guys. Yeah, there was. Sam Howell's a high ceiling guy. Spencer Rattler's a high ceiling guy, but they both played terrible. And again, being a Sooner fan, I listen, there was mocks already of Spencer Rattler going to the Giants, and I thought Spencer Rattler would be great. But you can see, as a Sooner fan, There is no offensive line and there's no running backs, and he is struggling. Lincoln Riley says that he throws. Lincoln Riley's just sticking up his quarterback. He says he throws the ball better than Kyler Murray. Yeah, you're high. He don't throw it nearly as good as Kyler Murray. He has a stronger arm than Baker Mayfield. He says that he's like a combination of Baker and Kyler. He's not. Yeah. He can be Spencer Rattler. Like if Spencer Rattler was on the Browns, I think that he'd be a little better than Baker. He wouldn't be a ton better, but I think his ceiling he could be a little bit higher than Baker. He'll never be Kyler Murray. So I don't know if that's a high ceiling guy.
And the Giants will by the time they get what the Browns have, it'll be year 3 of his rookie contract.
Right. Spencer Rattler's not.
If they can even do that.
I guess the best way to say it is this, Ms. Trunchbull. There's not a quarterback in this draft class that is going to make the Giants a better football team. There's nobody that's going to come in here in this situation. It's not like Daniel Jones has an optimal situation. He's just really stinks. They really don't have anything around him. And bringing a rookie quarterback into this situation with bad cap and no offensive line, you really struggle. You're better off drafting a couple offensive linemen and helping Daniel Jones.
You're setting him up to fail, at least in my opinion.
Right. And then if Daniel Jones is bad, if Daniel Jones is bad next year, but you build the offensive line and you get rid of Daniel Jones, at least at that point,
even if you bring in a guy that's
set up,
he could perform much better. Yeah.
Right. Edgar, thank you, brother. Really, bro, appreciate you. Baddog, your shirt's awesome. Where'd you get it? This is a Christmas present. Mrs. Baddog got this for me. I'm guessing Amazon. Mrs. Baddog loves Amazon. Every day I get home from work, every day, something's on my porch from Amazon. Every day, without fail, something's there. It could be Clorox wipes. It could be clothes for my son. It could be a decoration. She loves Amazon, loves it. She loves Amazon like I love DoorDash. I don't feel like cooking tonight. What's on DoorDash? So I think I did get it. I think she did get it on Amazon, but this shirt's a couple years old. Zig, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really. Curtis Samuel, not Debo. I didn't.
Oh, when you were talking about, Debo and Curtis Samuel are actually both very similar type of wide receivers. So they're both used in the backfield.
Here's a good one. Yvonne Rios says, if we're 0-5, would you consider trading star players like Barkley?
Yeah. But what are you going to get for him? That's the question. What are you going to get for Saquon Barkley if he's still not 100% and teams are going to know if they're trading for him? He's going to be coming up on a contract.
That's true. Steve, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, my man. Really. I'm sick of these 2020 Bills fans in Canada making fun of my Giants being 0-3. Scum of the earth. I don't know if I've ever heard Bills fans mentioned like that before, but I guess that's close to Canada because, Steve, Buffalo's way closer to Canada than it is to me. Buffalo is like in a different country. Buffalo's 5 hours, 5.5 hours. It's all the way across the state. New York's a pretty long state. That is a long ways away from me. We don't have many Bills fans in this part. It's usually Giants, Jets, or Cowboys here. I don't even have a lot of, even though I'm near the Massachusetts border, there's very few Patriots fans here. It really is Jets, Giants, Cowboys. That's really what's in New York, or in upstate New York. I don't know what it is down in the city, but I'm guessing it's mostly Jets, Giants down there. But not a lot of Bills fans here, so I don't see them. And they really don't ever say anything about the Giants. Because if they did, I would just say wide right, and that would shut them up. And I can always have.
You're going to see a lot more of them now that they're good, probably.
I don't think so, because the Bills don't really have bandwagon fans. I don't think the Bills have bandwagon. I think the Bills fans are pretty.
No, loyal. They have one of the most diehard loyal fan bases in the league, actually.
Yeah. Pimp, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really know the high ceiling guys are Willis and Corral this year, not Howell or Rattler anymore. But see, that's the thing anymore. So, Pimp, 4 weeks from now, Willis and Corral could be crap. And we could be talking about a completely different quarterback. Remember, nobody knew who Joe Burrow was. Nobody knew who Joe Burrow was before Joe Brady got there and they won a championship. Nobody heard of Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Well, so things change over the course of a year. It's why it's stupid to kind of talk about the draft right now because we don't know what these prospects are going to look like.
Right, but he nailed it. But Pimp nailed it. That's exactly why we can't talk about it yet because like you just said, not Howell or Rattler anymore. Yeah. It changes from week to week. Sports in general changes from week to week.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It depends.
Listen, man. If they, all I'm going to say is this: if they draft a quarterback, they better be completely sold. They better be all in. Because if they're wrong, it's going to set the franchise back a lot more than if they hold on to Jones or get a stopgap quarterback for a year before they draft their next quarterback. That's all I'm going to say. You don't just take a quarterback because he's slightly better than the quarterback that you have. You have to feel like he is a franchise-changing quarterback, especially if you're putting him in a situation like this. That's my opinion.
Right. Miss Trunchbull, thank you. Really completely disagree. I've been watching this class all year. Get where you guys are coming from, but Willis will probably go top 15 in the 2021 draft. I'm not denying that he won't go top 15, but we're probably not drafting. We're probably drafting top 10, top 5. And again, it's a bad situation. Like, I don't know that Willis will be better than Daniel Jones is in the situation that Daniel Jones is in. Yeah, I don't see, again, I haven't watched a lot of Willis, so I can't speak about, I don't watch Liberty, so I can't speak on Willis at all. I can speak on, I'm going to get a good look at Corral against Alabama this week. Some good games. Georgia, Arkansas is going to be a great game. Ole Miss and Alabama are going to be a great game. So I'm looking forward to those. So I'll get a really good look at Corral this week and see what he can do against one of the better defense. Alabama's not what they've been defensively, but they're obviously the best team in the country, one of them. Mm-hmm. So I'll get a good look at him. Rattler I watch all the time, and I watched Howell the first couple games of the year. So yeah, I can't speak on Willis. I can't speak on Willis. I don't know enough about him.
They better be right if they take him. That's all I'm going to say. They better be right because you're not putting him in a great situation.
Yeah, I can't speak intelligently about that. I was speaking on Rattler and Howell. Yeah. Roldy, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, really, Chris.
You know what? I'm just going to leave Baddog because Roldy doesn't want me here.
Roldy says Jones don't have much team. For God's sakes, he's the quarterback. If anything, he needs to put his team on the back, put up points, and win. We got Barkley, Galladay, and Ingram. Well, Roldy, how can you say Ingram? Ingram hurts us.
Barkley's not making excuses. And the offensive line is still bad. You know, you could call it excuses. Fine. I said the same thing about Eli Manning for the last 7 years of his career. He was not set up properly. He was set up to fail. I think the same thing with Jones. I think if we bring in Willis, I'm going to be saying the same thing until they fix the offensive line.
Right.
I'm going to be saying the same thing until they fix this offensive line.
Right. Yeah. And
doesn't matter who the quarterback is.
I'll have to watch some Liberty football. I don't know who the hell Liberty plays in college football. I don't know who the hell they play. So, again, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, Romo was great. He came from Eastern Illinois, and Carson Wentz certainly had a ton of talent. He went to North Dakota State, as did Trey Lance. So they were Division II quarterbacks, and they're I don't know about Wentz is good when he's healthy. Romo was very good. But Romo was in a good situation. So we'll see. Again, it sucks that we got to talk about this. It's October 1st, and we're talking about quarterbacks in the 2022 class because the Giants can't get out of their own damn way. Freaking sucks. Pimp, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Really. No, I disagree. Willis has been talked about ahead of Rattler. Rattler was the Heisman favorite. He and Sam Howell were the favorites to win the Heisman going into the year. They may have talked about Willis in February. He had a monster year last year. Has been better in 2021. That could be a fact. But Rattler and Howell were definitely the Heisman. Trust me, I look at the odds of that. And Rattler and Howell were definitely the Heisman favorites over Willis. Definitely.
Willis has been talked about a lot. I will say, I don't know about preseason, but from about a week in, he has been talked about a lot. I've seen highlights. I haven't watched his games. I don't watch Liberty football games, but I see the raw physical attributes that people talk about. Sure.
But I mean, Haskins had those. Guys have, again, you have to, it is so hard to talk about any quarterback in college moving to the next level because so much of it depends on their reaction time, their ability to read defenses, their ability to hold on to the football and, get acclimated to the speed of the NFL and the situation that they're put in. People are talking about Trevor Lawrence being terrible here in Jacksonville. He's played 3 games or 4 games now. They're talking about he's a bust. But when this kid was coming out of Clemson, everyone's talking about this guy's Andrew Luck. So, again, I mean, Willis could be great and he could win the Heisman. And then he gets drafted by, I'm trying to think of a really bad team.
By the Giants?
Well, okay, he gets drafted by the Giants. And we're 0-4. And people are like, this guy sucks. He's another Daniel Jones. It's so hard to know what they're going to be until we get here. It's tough. It's a tough thing. It really is. Did anybody think Russell Wilson was going to light the world on fire?
He was set up very well, though.
He was, but when he's coming out third,
nobody.
The third round from Wisconsin,
you want to talk about a quarterback who was set up for success.
Right.
He was early on.
But that's, I mean, it's really tough to get Tom Brady. Did anybody go, "Ooh, this kid's going to be the greatest quarterback in the history of football with his 5'2", 640 out of Michigan"?
No,
nobody. You never know.
Yeah,
that's why it's so tough. There's been so many guys that are Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, Cardale Jones, a lot of quarterbacks great in college that just never translated to the NFL. Matt Leinart. There's a bunch of them, Abe, thank you, brother. Really, but we got to get out of here. This is going really late. Appreciate you guys, girls. You guys and girls are the freaking best. Really appreciate you. Thanks so much again. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, but it's almost 12:30. Got to get out of here. Get ready for Sunday. Abe, thank you, brother. Really, we need to draft at least 3 offensive linemen and 2 edge. I think we should draft
at least 2. I'll tell you that right now. At least 2 offensive linemen in next year's draft, Abe. I'm with you.
2 picks. Pim, thank you, brother. Brilly. 4 weeks ago, though, people were saying this was a 10-win team, and now this team's a disaster. To me, the biggest issue is coaching right now.
I agree.
So do I.
Yeah, I think the coaching is definitely the big, and obviously, definitely coaching, because the guy that everybody wanted to run out of here was Pat Shurmur, and I understood it a couple of years ago. Look at the roster that Pat Shurmur had. I looked today. I went back and looked at it. That defense was a complete and utter trash can. The Giants are more talented at basically every position as opposed to that they were in 2019 with Pat Shurmur. They are. They're more talented at the wide receiver position. You could only think that Daniel Jones is a more talented quarterback year 3 as opposed to year 1. The defense is more talented at basically every position on the roster than they were when they first started in 2019, outside of, I guess, interior defensive tackle. So, and he won 5 games and we ran him out of town. So I definitely think coaching is the biggest problem.
I agree. I mean, all you have to do is look at the mistakes that we've made in the last 2 games. And to be honest with you, Chris, we were not prepared at all to play Denver. The team was completely unprepared. That's coaching.
Yep.
The coaching, when you're unprepared, that's really bad luck.
5 games, which amazing guy said we won 4 games. We won 5 games with Shurmur year 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
But a terrible look against Denver. And then you see the lack of fundamentals in the biggest spots. It's coaching. That's coaching to me. Yeah, the players got to execute. I get it. But they are not being set up. The thing that got me about Joe Judge, and again, I want to get out of here, but I could talk about the Giants all night. The thing that got me about Joe Judge was this. I loved Joe Judge. Punch him in the nose for 16 minutes. I love that philosophy because I'm an old school guy. I like that. But what got me about Joe Judge, the thing that I really bought into was when he said, "Don't tell me what a player can't do. Tell me what he can do." To me, this said he's got the right coaching philosophy. You build your game plan around your player strengths. He ain't doing that. He ain't doing it. They're not doing it. They don't do that. You don't see Daniel Jones. We don't see his strength at all. Strength is mobility and getting out of the pocket. Throwing deep. He don't do it. Ever.
Yeah. It's on the coaching, man. Hey, Joe Judge should be getting a lot more production. Somebody said, who cares about the records? We suck. The point I was trying to say, Joey, is, and I guess it was 4 games. I was wrong. 4 or 5 games. Those are what he won his first 2 years here with the Giants. If he wins 4 or 5 games with this team, he did a worse job than Shurmur did. He has a much more talented roster than Pat Shurmur did in 2019 when we fired Pat Shurmur.
Yep. Yeah, we were 5-11 and 4.
We have a much more talented roster than that team.
Yeah. Roldy, thank you, brother. Really appreciate you. Offensive line isn't great, but it's been serviceable, and they've given Jones time in the pocket. He still has no points, no win. Tired of these excuses.
Okay. I think the offensive line sucks. I think the fans are overrating it a bit. They've given them time at times. Daniel Jones is still the 4th most pressure quarterback in football. He's still been sacked the 5th most times, and we have no running lanes. So we haven't been able to establish any ground game because we can't block. Daniel Jones is our leading rusher. Some of it's on Barkley as well, not finding the holes. But the offensive line is being, I think, overrated by the fan base because they had such low expectations coming in, and the fact that it's bad and not horrible. Fans are saying, no, the offensive line is still not good. It's still a major problem on this team.
I agree with both things you said. I think that, like you said, we expected it to be really, really, really bad, and especially with the freaking with the injuries. But the thing is, when Jones has had time, he hasn't always made the play. I think that's a role he's.
That's fair.
But again, you have to look at the throw to Slayton was perfect, And that was in the face of a blitz. And Slayton's got to make the catch. And this happens to Jones a lot. So, and again, that doesn't show up like that. That in the box score is an incompletion. But anybody that watched that game, except for the absolute haters of Daniel Jones, say, it was overthrown. If Slayton laid out for the ball and it hit him in the hands, okay, you could say it was overthrown. He didn't never laid out. Never. And it hit him here. It hit him here. It didn't hit him here. It hit him here. Yeah, it didn't hit him in the palm, but it hit him in the – come on, man. You're an NFL receiver. Again, that 0 for 1. But really, we all know that should have been a 38-yard touchdown or whatever it was. Yeah. I think, again, right now, I'm a believer that Jones with a better team around him could be better. But ask me in 3 weeks, I could tell you the guy sucks and should be pumping gas in Jersey with Gary Sanchez. It just depends. Steve, thank you, brother. Really, really. When I noticed Johnson was 6'6", 235, I wonder why we haven't been using him more often, just using my brain, because he just got here.
Yeah, he just got here. We signed him right before the year started. And yeah, we're talking about learning the playbook. He literally got here like 2 weeks before the year started.
I liked him out of Texas. I always liked Colin Johnson. So I hope Colin Johnson I hope that they continue to use him. I like him. Pim, thank you, brother. Really, really appreciate you. I'll give you guys time and credit for holding Judge accountable. Most of the fans just want to scream Garrett instead of blaming the head coach.
No, the head coach is most responsible. He's the head coach.
Yep, we try to be fair.
Head coach is by far he's the biggest problem right now. The head coach has to take the brunt of the responsibility, and he has the say of whether or not to move to change it, and he hasn't done it. Yep. So no, he manages the timeouts. He decides whether or not to go for it on 4th down. He decides whether or not this is going to be more of a conservative football team. He's involved in both the offensive and defensive game plans. He's the head coach. He's the CEO. He should be held more accountable than anybody else.
Yep. Logic says the O-line Swiss cheese, nothing good to say. It's been a carousel for years. That's a fact. Andrew Thomas is playing much better, but that's it. Low expectations, gents. The O-line is horrible. It's not good. It's not good. But again, I think what Roldy was saying was that when Jones has that time, he hasn't always made the plays. I think that's what he was saying. I don't think Roldy was saying, hey, we got a Pro Bowl offensive line here, but the
team sucks.
We're just so sick of losing, man. And
all I'm going to tell you is I'm going to give you my honest prediction. If we draft a quarterback next year, he's going to fail. That's my honest prediction. If we draft a quarterback next year, you can mark it. I'll say it, and I pray to God I'm wrong. That quarterback will fail as a New York Giant. That is my prediction right now. And I hope I'm wrong if they draft one, but I do not think he'll be set up for success.
I'll be honest. Again, ask me in 3 weeks, my tone could completely change because you guys know how I am with Daniel Jones. Right now, I'm looking at the way he's played, and I'm saying if you go out and get Tyler Lindenbaum and another high-end offensive lineman, and I don't know them all. I forgot the name that people were mentioning earlier. Who was the guy they mentioned earlier, Chris?
Evan Neal.
Neal. So if they get Neal and Lindenbaum, which I would say go for it. Maybe Jones has a breakout year. They really have to fix the O-line. Dave Gettleman never fixed the damn thing. He never fixed it. He said he promised us he'd fix it, and he hasn't fixed shit. This offensive line is not good.
Yeah.
I want it fixed. I want to see Deion Jones back there. Like the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
You know,
it's more so for the next guy too. If Jones doesn't work out, because
exactly.
If you put a gun to my head right now, I would say Jones is probably not going to work out here. But I want to make the most out of the rookie contract. I want the guy to come in and have a solid foundation, a solid situation to work with when we draft him.
All right. We're going hog heaven next year. Evan Neal and Tyler Lindenbaum. Let's go. G Nation, really, really thanks so much. Hearing Shepard's injury is bad. Oh my God. Doesn't surprise me. Do it all the time. Sucks, but what can you do? Next man up. I say it all damn time, but I guess it's true. Pim, thank you, brother, for your explanation. The next few weeks are going to get worse. Can they get worse?
No, I mean, at this point, we're numb. I mean, we expect to lose, if we're being honest, the next. We're not going to win, though, I'll tell you that, but more than likely against some of these teams.
We're winning. We're winning Sunday.
I hope so.
Hot take. We're beating the Saints. Jesus is coming over. We're winning. We're winning.
I guess a cold take, we're not beating the Saints.
Yeah. Hot take, Chris. Hot take. When we win, Chris is doing a shot.
I hope I do a shot. I would love to do a shot.
Big one. Double shot. Christopher, thank you, brother. Brilliant. Morning, guys. Chris from the UK. The wife is a big Saints fan. It's going to be a long weekend.
Well,
At least she's a Saints fan.
What's that? Hopefully he's happy and she's not.
Yeah, hopefully it's a long weekend for her.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we went way over time tonight. I really appreciate all you guys and girls being there. Still 600 people in the chat because you guys and girls are absolute legends. One last time, if you haven't done so, we're 50 likes away from 500. If we could get there, that would be awesome. Do me a favor, subscribe to this channel. If you haven't, come back on Sunday when we play the Saints and you can see our reaction. More importantly, make sure you go into that description. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the Entertainment Talking Sports next week. This show will be on his channel and the Cowboy game will be over there. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, we do this every week. We alternate channels. We also do every game together. We alternate channels as well. So, you're not going to want to miss it, man. It's a fun show. We got the best chat on YouTube. We got the best subscribers and supporters. Love the hell out of you guys and girls. And again, I apologize. Well, it's not my fault, but I apologize. And it sucks. And it's every year, man. I would say it at the end of every freaking show, just wait till we're good. And I really, really thought this was a year that we were going to be pretty good. Not great, but good. And here we are 0-3 again, October 1st. We're talking about frickin' Willis and Lindenbaum and the 2022 draft and new GMs and new coach. This sucks.
Unfortunately, this is the way it's going to be. Unfortunately, that's what it's going to be until the draft because unless we start winning football games. I just want to apologize to Roldy before I close it out. Daniel Jones is the worst quarterback who ever lived. Saquon Barkley is the worst running back who ever lived. Joe Judge is the worst head coach who ever lived. Dave Gettleman is the worst GM who ever lived. Our offensive line is the worst offensive line who's ever lived. Our defense is the worst defense in the history of football. And the New York Giants will never win a game for the rest of my life. I hope that's negative enough for you, Roldy. Thank you to everybody for watching. Always appreciate all the support. You guys are the best. Can't say thank you enough for all the support that you guys always show on both of our channels. Baddog, man, thank you so much for having me on, man. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to calling the game with you this week. And, of course, coming back over on my channel the following week to call the next game. So thank you to everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll talk soon. When we do this show next week on Chris's channel, we're going to be talking about a freaking win. Hot take. Let's go. For the Entertainment Talking Sports, the Bad Diggity Dizzle. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully you'll see you Sunday.